Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome to Let's Start Story on What If Naruto Had Big Harem with Retsu Unohana. So do 4 blue hearts. Comment, be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video, and please share with your friends and watch till end. Also check out Patreon for I have upload Harry x Hermione uncensored spicy version, link in description. You wish to see me? Yamato-sama. A woman with long black hair hanging in front of her. She had on a caption cloak with 4 on the back. She was standing in front of a very old and tired-looking man. The man was sitting on a throne-like seat with both hands in front of him on a wood walking stick. Yes, it seems that a large amount of deaths have happened in the last hour. I want you to go with caption Yoruichi here to look into this. Yamato nods to the woman standing next to her. Where are we going? Yamato-sama, the woman with the black hair asks. The elemental nations. I would send another. Caption, but you know it better than anyone here. Caption Unohana, caption Yamato told her. Unohana shifts just so slightly, only Yoruichi catches it. Unohana only has been there once before for 10 years on a long-term mission to look in the vanishing Vasto Lord that had been happening there. She remember when in time only one of them lived. Then a human foolishly split it into 9 beasts. Just by being split made them weak. A different animal ate each one. A raccoon, a cat, a turtle, a monkey, a horse, a wolf, a beetle, one that somehow were eaten by a bull and an octopus at the same time, then lastly a fox. Out of all of them, the only one she ever saw was the fox. She still remember it. The Kyuubi is what made her come home, since she no longer had a reason to stay there anymore. Every will Yamato-sama. When do we leave? Unohana asked, still feeling uneasy about going back there. She did not tell anyone, but she lost too many things 5 years ago. At once. The people you were looking for we believe are called the Uchihas. Yamato told them. Both Yoruichi and Unohana bow before leaving. So Unohana want to tell me why you look like you want to kill? Caption Yamato, Yoruichi asks as they make their way to the Senkaimon. Yoruichi-san, I would like if you do not ask about my personal life, Unohana tells Yoruichi, making said person eyes get big. Never in her years of knowing Unohana did Yoruichi see her act this way. Once at the Senkaimon, Unohana mumbles something, making it open. Unohana was the first to step out of the Senkaimon overlooking a village. Looking up at a cliff, she saw 4 faces carved into it. Looking at the one at the end, Unohana smiles. Yoruichi walks out a few seconds later to see Unohana looking down at the village. Yoruichi-san, can you go looking for the lost souls? There is a place I would like to visit first. And one last thing, the living here can see us, Unohana said before vanishing. Yoruichi let out a sigh before getting to work. Unohana reappear in front of a stone. Looking down at the stone, she only saw one of the 2 names she was looking for. She turns when she feels someone walking up behind her. Standing behind her was a small 5-year-old boy with blonde hair and blue eyes. Next to him was a woman with long flaming red hair. The woman looks at her in first shock, then in anger. The boy was just looking at her for the first time. Me trying to understand why she was dressed that way. You bitch, showing your face here, the woman yells at Unohana. Leave, Unohana. I do not know why you are here. But Minato would be greatly disappointed at you for leaving. Kushina, I'm here because of the death of the Uchiha clan, and to visit my husband and son's grave, Unohana told the woman. Your son is right here, you bitch. You left him to the village. If I did not know about him, he would have been dead within a week, Kushina kept yelling at Unohana. Oh, could he have died if his body was already destroyed by the ceiling? Tell me, Ashina, why do you make me relive this again? Unohana said as she pulls out her Zanpakuto. Kushina pulls out 2 pieces of papers. Unohana, you may not believe me. However, you will believe these, if you still do not, please leave and never return here. I would also like to have them back, Kushina tell Unohana as she hands them to her. Unohana takes the papers to see they both are pictures of 2 small blonde boys. Unohana at first they both were Minato when he was younger, but then notes one of the boys had whisker-like marks. No, it can't, they said he was dead. Why? Unohana cries as she drops her Zanpakuto and falls to her knees. Then starts to repeats, I left him. I left him. I left him. Kushina slowly walks over to her. Kushina then sits down next to Unohana. I left him, was all Unohana could say still after 5 minutes. Kushina felt someone land nearby. Turning, she saw Yoruichi standing there looking pissed off. I am never going to send those stuck-up bastard back to the Soul Society. Hell, the only one who sounds like being someone to send is some woman named Makoto. Yoruichi groans, not seeing Unohana until after she finished her rant that went on for 5 minutes. Unohana, what happened to you? And who are you? She asked, pointing at Kushina. I'm Kushina, Kushina answers before helping Unohana up, and right now Unohana is having a mental breakdown, after finding she had the worst prank ever pull on her. If you could help me, we can take her back to the compound. Okay, Yoruichi says as she helped Kushina move Unohana. Within minutes all three of them were moving over the rooftops at high speed. Not caring if they run over a few Anbu and other ninja on the way. Landing outside the compound gate, Kushina made a hand seal to open the gate for them. Once in Yoruichi, high notes, the ground was covered with plant life. Right behind the wall was an open field with bushes in random places. A few yards back was a forest with a trail leading through it. Yoruichi notes the trees seemed to be overly large than they should have been. Once through the forest they came upon a large pond, no, make that a small lake with an island in the middle of it with a large house. Getting close to show the house was just sitting on the other side of the pond. I am not talking about the pond that sits between the USA and Great Britain. Half of the house was sitting over the water. You said this was a compound. So far I have only seen one house. Unless everyone else lives in the trees, Yoruichi states, more than ask. They do, Unohana moans, speaking for the first time in 10 minutes. This is the Senju compound. Why are we here? Because Tsunade-san wanted her grandson close to her to keep him safe, Kushina said as they cross a small wooden walkway over the pond. Yo. Ruchi now notes the house had what looked like a greenhouse running all around it. The house was 2 stories tall. The second story was painted a cage red. On one part of the roof was a widow wall. King into the greenhouse. Yoruichi let out a gasp, seeing all different kinds of flower and herb growing. She spots a few that she knew of, but most of them she had never seen before. Who takes care of all of this? Yoruichi asks, still in shock. Naruto-kun, he loved to garden. It took him a year to get it like this, but he really does have a green thumb, Kushina said with a hit of pride in her voice. Kushina lead them into a sitting area. The area looked larger than Yoruichi family meeting room. The room took up almost half of the first floor, not counting the greenhouse. Looking to her right, Yoruichi spots what looks like an eating room of some kind. Kushina lays Unohana down on one of the couches in the room. Then leaves, saying she was going to find everyone. Yoruichi, who never liked sitting or standing, for that matter, still for longer than need, starts to walk around. She soon found herself out in the greenhouse again. Only this time she saw flowers everywhere. Sitting in the middle of the room was a woman with blonde hair who looks like in her 20s, reading to a small boy who was sitting in her lap. The boy was holding a small fox with what looked like 9 tails coming out of it in his hand. Near them was what looks like a small teapot. Staying back, Yoruichi watched them. You can join us if you wish, the woman said without looking at Yoruichi. Yoruichi eyes got big at this. If you wonder, I knew you were there as soon as you came into the room. Now please take a seat. Yoruichi took a seat across from the two. Now being closer, she notes they both had the same hair color. However, the eyes and the face were different. The woman had honey color eyes where the boy had blue. He also had what looked like whisker marks on each cheek. Naru-chan, is you going to say hi to our guests? The woman asks the boy in her lap. I was going to Ba-chan, the boy says with a playful pout, looking up at the woman. Looking back at Yoruichi, he gives her a fox-like grin. Hi, I'm Naruto, the next Hokage, and she's my Ba-chan. Nice to meet you, Naruto-kun, and you too, Ba-chan. I am Yoruichi Shihoin, captain of Squad 2, Yoruichi says with a playful smile. The older woman smiles softly. I'm Tsunade Senju. Now do you know the captain of Squad 4 by chance? Yes, she came with me. Why? Yoruichi asks. Naru-chan, go and play outside for me, Tsunade asked Naruto, who pouts. But Ba-chan, Kushina Obasan was supposed to take me to see Otu-san tonight, Naruto whines at her. I will take you tomorrow. Okay, now go, Tsunade said, giving Naruto a small push. Naruto mumbles something before leaving. Yoruichi notes Tsunade seemed to let out a breath as soon as he was gone before taking a pill of some kind. Yoruichi eyes narrow at this. You want him out so he would not see you like this, Yoruichi states. Yes, I do not need him to believe he is going to lose another family member. He has lost too many already. In addition, here I am the greatest medic alive and I cannot find a cure to the poison. The only one who probably cures me would be his mother. That is why I ask, Tsunade says, showing pain on her face for the first time. Yoruichi also notes she seemed pale for her age. What poison you? Yoruichi asks. An old teammate when he found out I was returning here. He tried to get me to join. You probably can tell me what happened next if you think about it, Tsunade says with a sad smile. But I get to be with my grandson for what I hope is a few more years. How does the poison work, Tsunade-san? Unohana asks, showing up herself looking pale and tired. It attacks the music and bone cells first. That is why I am here. I took the guest bedroom on this floor just so I did not need to move around that much. Even then it hurts to move a lot. It slowly attacks the lungs and heart. Other than that we could not find anything else about it, Tsunade told Unohana as she sat down next to her. Did you think of checking to see if it was two different poisons? Unohana asks as she runs a keto healing spell. Tsunade smacks her forehead. I should have thought of that. It seems I could make you a cure in a few minutes if the herbs and the blue water slugs live in the pond outside, Unohana says. The slugs live in the pond, in fact the fountain has them in it, in the rare flower part of the greenhouse, Tsunade said as she tries to get up only to be stopped by Unohana. You stay put, no moving from you. Yoruichi, I need you go and get me 3 of them alive, so put them in a glass bowl with water from the fountain in it, Unohana tells them as she moved to the door to go outside. How far from the house are they? Quote, just find your son, he plays by them, Tsunade tells her, not wanting to tell her she could find them in the herb part of the greenhouse. Unohana nods her head before Shunpo to find the herbs. After 2 steps she find Naruto playing with a stuffed fox with 9 tails. Unohana takes a sharp breath seeing her son again. She knew the herbs were here since she saw her son playing right next to them. She then notes he was not playing in them. Taking a deep breath, Unohana forces herself to relax before walking over to her son. Hello, Unohana says gently once she was next to her son. Naruto looks up at her before grinning. Hi, I'm Naruto, the next Hokage, he said with a fox-like grin on his face. Nice to meet you, Naruto-kun. I'm Unohana, do you think you helped me find some herbs? Unohana asks. What herbs are you looking for? Naruto asks, wondering why she was out here looking for them. I need to find yarrow, comfrey, and mullein, Unohana says, as she kneels down next to Naruto. I know those. You use them to create antidote for weapon poisons. But why do you need them? Naruto asks, shocking Unohana on how much he knew about healing. A friend of mine got poison in a fight with 2 different poisons and I need them to cure her, Unohana said, not telling her son one of his caregivers was the person poisoned. They all grow close by, Naruto says, pointing to a small planting patch. Can I help you pick them and make the antidote? Sure, I would like the help, Naruto-kun, Unohana says with a soft smile, hoping to get to know her son some more. Walking over, Unohana notes Naruto kept the fox close to him. Who's your friend, Naruto-kun? This Kyuubi-chan. Eros Sanin is trying to make a seal so Kyuubi-ne-chan and me can use this Kyuubi-chan to move around and out here. Will you be my friend? Naruto asks suddenly. Unohana miss a step before answering. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, but right now I could not be your friend, but I would like to. Oh, okay. Naruto says, looking down before smiling again. I bet your friend is really strong if she could fight 2 different poisons at once. She is. In fact, I would call her my equal at times, Unohana tells her son. Can I meet her? Naruto asks once again, not knowing he already knew the person. Maybe later, Unohana trying to wiggle out of it. Unohana-san, do you have any children my age? Naruto asks. Unohana does not say anything for a minute, making Naruto worry he said something wrong. I have a son that's your age. But I have not seen him since he was born because of unseen problems, Unohana tells him finally. Oh, I hope you get to meet him someday. I wish knew my Ka-chan. She vanishes shortly after I was born. What was your son's name? Naruto asks, looking up at Unohana, who finally broke down again. Naruto, I'm so sorry, Unohana cries before pulling him into a tight hug. Naruto stiffens before hugging Unohana back, not sure why she was apologizing or hugging him, but he like it. It was like when Tsunade or Kushina hug him, but nicer. He thought it was like a mother hugging him. He was brought out of his moose when Unohana said sorry again. I'm so sorry for leaving you. I did not know, please forgive me. Unohana begs as he holds her son like a lifeline. Ka-chan, Naruto inquires. Yes, I am you, Ka-chan. Naruto. I am so sorry, I thought you had died that night. I was told you died with your father. Please let me make it up to you, Unohana says quietly. I forgive you, Ka-chan, Naruto says happily, as he returns the hug with his own tear only his weir of joy. Time skip 120 years. Let me get this straight, you want me to help a bunch of teens break into the Soul Society, free a person on death row and get back here, a small kid asks a person with a bucket hat and fan. What's about the most of it, the man says as he opens his fan. The kid sits there for a minute before whacking the man on the head with a large stick. Are you crazy? I am. Not going to Ka-chan and Ba-chan or Nei-san in trouble just for some brat's crush, the kid yells at him before whacking him again just for fun. What if I came along? Asks a masculine voice coming from a black cat. The kid stops in mid-swing, think about before answering, only if hold you the whole time and cuddle with you. No choking, the cat tells him. Yay, the kid yells before picking up that cat and hugging it. Old man, you got a deal. When do we leave? In an hour, the man says with a grin before being hit again with the stick. You always wait till the last minute, old man, th. E-kid says before running off with the cat to wait on the others to show up. 1 hour later, 14 stood in a large room with what looked like a sky overhead. The first one was dressed in a white shitagi, black kosode, and a black hakama. Next to him was a tall Mexican in a white tank top and black pants. The last male teen was dressed all in white with a short cape on his back. The last teen had a pink shirt with white pants. In her hair she had 2 flower clips. All other we're looking at the man with the bucket hat. You said we're going to have 2 others come with us, where are they? The kid in black asks. Right here, Strawberry-chan, a voice says from behind them. Turning, they see a kid holding a back cat. The kid had on black pants and an orange shirt. Hey, you're that kid is always hanging out by the school. Strawberry-chan yells as he points at him. Kurosaki-kun, you know Naruto-kun too, the female teen asks. Wait, you know him? Orihime, the teen asks, turning back around to look at his friend. Hi. We stay in the same apartment building, Orihime tells him. Turning back to the old man, Strawberry-chan asks him, wait, you telling me this brat is going to help us out and the second person not here yet? Quote, I'm right here, Ichigo, the cat tells him. Orihime, Strawberry-chan is being mean to me, the kid as he hugs Orihime leg. Orihime picks him up, telling him Ichigo was only worried about him getting hurt. But I told you, Oni-chan, I can't get hurt or Ka-chan and Ba-chan will get angry and mean person goes bye-bye, the kid says with a fox-like grin. Now let's get moving, Urahara says with a small clap. Naruto somehow got Yoruichi back in his arms again and now was on the tall Mexican named Chad, who for some reason seemed to be smiling lightly at this. Orihime knew why, because she smiled like that every time she was holding Naruto. You could not help but to smile. Standing next to a large white doorway, Urahara began to explain to them how they would break into the Soul Society. After finishing, he opens the doorway and sending them through. Naruto jumps off Chad and runs through the portal laughing. Last one there is it, Naruto calls out as he runs away from them. They all made it thanks to Orihime quick thinking. Ichigo stood looking at a large gate that Jidanbo, who began to shout about how Ichigo would not cross or make it pass him alive. Ha! Ha, ha. You Strawberry will not make it across, no one has ever made it past since I became Gate Guardian, Jidanbo states with pride. Pulling out an axe, Jidanbo slams it into the ground, Makin. Ga wall blocking everyone from him and Ichigo. Yoruichi and Naruto, who still had her in his arms, seem unsurprised by this. As Ichigo defend himself from the rain of axe blows, Naruto put Yoruichi down and walk away, saying he would be back. Ichigo had blocked the 10th swing from this giant. Jidanbo reaches into his cloak and pulls out another axe. Die! Jidanbo cries out as he brings his axes down. Ichigo meets with his own attack, swing his oversized kitchen knife, destroying both axes. Jidanbo hops back to his feet, claiming he tripped. Raising what is left of his axes, he notes both of them have been destroyed. No, my axes. Jidanbo cries, falling down, throwing a fit. Sorry about that, I probably could have just broke one of them. Ichigo tries to apologize. You are a very honorable man. I will open the gate for you. Jidanbo says with tears of joy now. Squatting down, Jidanbo lifts up the great gate only to start shacking in fear for who stood on the other side. Ichigo walks around to see who it is. Standing there was a man with a fox-like grin, silver to lime green hair. He had on a Squad 3 cloak. Jidanbo, what are you doing? Do you not know the rules? If you lose then you die. Shoot to kill. The man says as his Zanpakuto shoot forward to his Jidanbo if Ichigo had not got in the way to block it. This sends both of them flying back out of the gate. Ichigo looks back at the closing gate to see the man wave, bye-bye. Wham! The gate was close. You fool, trying to take on a caption level. That was Jin Ichimaru. You are lucky to be breathing, Yoruichi says after scratching Ichigo's face with her claws. Hey! Ichigo yells. Come now, we need to find a place to sleep, Yoruichi tells the small group of teens as she walks away. The teens were sitting down around a small fire with a teapot over it. They had just found Naruto 2 hours ago. Flashback. Yoruichi was leading the way hoping to find Naruto before nightfall. Yoruichi spots a ramen stand. Let's check the food stand. If Naruto is anywhere he will be there, Yoruichi says, walking into the stand to see Naruto sitting on a stool talking to the owner. Come on old lady, you got to know where it's at, I left it with you. Naruto says, looking dead in the eye of the owner of the stand. The owner looks right back at him before speaking. I sold it. Need the money, she says with a grin. Then you could have just asked Ka-chan or Ba-chan. Naruto says, now glaring daggers at her. Shaking her head, missing up her brown hair, the owner just smiles before leaning down to pick up something. You know Naruto-kun, you could have just asked nicely, a man says. As he places a bowl of ramen in front of Naruto. He had on the same white shirt and white pants as the owner. His black hair comes just to above his dark eyes. I could, but I told you, Itachi. I may not have time to ask nicely, Naruto says before digging into his ramen. Yoruichi hops up onto the stool next to his. You know Naruto, it took us 2 hours to find you. But I was hungry. Naruto whines, putting his mask back on. Then why did you not say so? Yoruichi says as she swipes his face with her claws. Ah, Yoruichi, why did you do that? Naruto says as he cries and holds his face. Because you need to learn not to run off, Naruto-kun, the owner says as she stands back up with a long box. The box was 7 feet long, about a foot across and tall. On it were 3 different seals, each one different than the last. It had also 4 locks that took different keys to each was a custom-made key so not to be copied. The box itself was made out of sakura wood. Engraved on it was a dragon inactive. Thank you Ayame-ne-chan, Naruto says as he tries to pick up the box. Ichigo picks it up for him, wanting to find a place to stay and plan their next move. Come on, let's go, Ichigo says as he leaves, not caring. Naruto waves by before following. Yoruichi bows her head before leaping onto Naruto's head. How many more do you need to get? Yoruichi whispers, not wanting to be overheard. Naruto holds up one finger, then he makes a circle on his chest telling her where it at. End of flashback. Naruto was sleeping in the corner of the room. I was able to sneak away to talk to the teens about their next move. Hey Yoruichi, why does Naruto want that big box? Ichigo asks. Wonder was in the box that Naruto was trying to pick up earlier. The box of his holds his Zanpakuto. Will one of them? He has 3 of them. Right now, he has 2. The one in the box and the other I am not sure where it's at. Yoruichi was saved by a large man flying through the wall and hitting Ichigo. Hey old man, what are you doing with dirt? The man yells at the teen's host. Who the hell are you? Ichigo yells back. I'm the #1 hater of all Soul Reapers. And my name is Ganju, Ganju yells. Now get lost before I beat you up. Bring it, pig boy, Ichigo yells back as he reaches for his sword on his back. Ganju just smiles before being hit straight in the face. Standing in his place was a very angry and sleepy Naruto holding a large katana in his right hand, his spiritual pressure and chakra flaring, taking the form of a large red fox with 9 tails flailing behind it. Yoruichi eyes widen before leaping onto his head. Naruto, it's fine, let the strawberry deal with him and go back to sleep, Yoruichi says in a panic. It seemed to work since Naruto sways a little before lumbering back to his bed to fall asleep again. Ganju comes running back in to see Naruto slowly making his way back. I will let you off this time, Soul Reaper. But I will kill you tomorrow at noon. Ganju says as he jumps onto a large pig and rides away. What was that about? Orihime asks, wondering like everyone else what happened. I'm not sure, Ryu says as he pushes up his glasses. Chad grunts. Yoruichi walks back over to them before telling, well, I believe we all need some sleep, and then walks back over to Naruto and curl up into a ball, falling asleep on his stomach. Seeing nothing better to do, the teens all go find a place to sleep. Next day. What do you mean you're not coming? Ryu asks Ichigo, who was sitting with his back to them. I am not leaving. If he comes back he is going to think I'm a chicken, Ichigo says with his arms crossed. Ryu, we are ready, Orihime says, peeking, seeing what was taking so long. Ichigo will not come, Ryu tells he. Only to see the door be thrown open by Naruto, who now was holding his katana, with Yoruichi on his head again. Come on, Strawberry-chan, I want to get going. Thanks to you we got to take the long way, and so get your ass into gear. Naruto says as his voice changes from childish to every adult-like, shocking everyone other than Yoruichi. Walking over, Naruto grabs Ichigo by the hair and starts to doctor him out of the room, not caring he was hurting him. Orihime look worried about Ichigo while Chad and Ryu look impassive. Once outside, Ichigo finally settle on, if only for his hair greater good, to come along. They made their way out of the village. Naruto seemed to turn back into his kid-like self to chase after a butterfly red. It seems to just to stay out of his reach every time he went to grab it. Finally, Naruto trips over a road and somehow lands on his back. The butterfly lands on his nose, making him giggle. Yoruichi slowly walks over to him, landing on his stomach. The sooner we find Kukaku, the sooner you can go and play. Yoruichi tells him as he sits up watching the butterfly leave. Okay, but something feels wrong. When we get in I am going to go see Ka-chan and Ba-chan, Nar. Yuto says as he stands up, picking Yoruichi up and holding her in his arms. The teens stood waiting for him. Seeing this, Naruto runs up to them smiling. Orihime smiles back before Ryu starts leading them again. Naruto smiles, drops for a minute, then returns a minute later. Elsewhere, 1 minute before. A red butterfly lands on a branch to rest for a minute. Soon a throwing knife rips it in half. Stepping out from behind a tree steps Naruto. Seeing the butterfly still trying to flap its wings a few times before stopping. Stepping closer, Naruto notes smoke rising from it. Aizen, you should kn. Out better than to try and outsmart a fox, Naruto says before popping back with the group and the real Naruto. It seems he is using human arms to hold it up, Yoruichi state the obvious. They were looking at a small house with an overly large chimney. In front of it were 2 arms holding up a banner stating who live here. Walking up to the house, 2 large men land in front of the group. Both had red hats with white tassels on it. The one on the left had on a white shirt while his friend had on a yellow shirt. What weird looking people, the one on the left says. One looks like a Shinigami, the other one states. We shall not let you pass, the first one says. Ichigo reaches for his sword on his back when Yoruichi leaps down from Naruto's arms. Yoruichi slowly walks to the front of the group. Yoruichi dono. The man states more, then asks. We came to see Kukaku, Yoruichi tells them. We need help. Naruto seems to be standing behind Chad, not wanting to be seen. Then follow me. The man in the yellow shirt tells them. With Yoruichi in the lead following the man, he leads them down a long set of stairs. At the bottom, they come to a long hallway. Stopping outside a door, the man kneels down on one knee. Kukaku dono, Yoruichi dono, and friends are here to see you, the man says through the door. Okay, let them in, a female voice replies. The man grabs the edge of the door and pulls it open, always staying out of sight. Yoruichi slowly saunters into the room. In the room, lying about, was a woman with black hair. Over her hair were bandages. She also has a red robe showing some of her bosom. She also is wearing a white skirt. Where her right arm should be is a prosthetic arm. In her left hand is a smoking pipe. She watches as they all walk in and kneel down waiting. Ruchi sitting on her hunches a few feet ahead of them. Naruto was still behind Chad, who still hid him from view. Nodding his head, Naruto climbs up. Chad back then makes a leap at the woman lounging in the pillows. Yelling Kukaku Obasan, who only smiles at this. Right before he can tackle her, she grabs him out of the air. "Hello Naruto-kun," Kukaku says as she gives Naruto a hug, which he returns. "Hi Kukaku Obasan," Naruto chirps back as she places him in her lap. "Will Yoruichi, I hope this is not why you brought all these people, just to bring my nephew to see me," the woman says with a large grin plastered to her face. "He is only tagging along and will be helping us," Yoruichi says with a small bow of the head. "We need your help." "Yes, that's usually the case when you seek me out. Is it dangerous?" Kukaku sighs before asking, as she plays with Naruto. "Yes," Yoruichi enlightens her. "Been a while since we've talked like this, my friend." "Lucky for you, I enjoy danger," Kukaku says looking back up at them. "I trust you and Naruto-kun. However, I do not trust them." Points at Ichigo, Chad, Orihime, and Uryu. "So I'm going to send one of my own men along with you." "Every will," Yoruichi replies with a nod of the head. Kukaku stands up and puts Naruto where she was sitting a few minutes ago. Walking over to a sliding wall, Kukaku gets ready to open it. "You ready?" she asks. Not waiting for a reply, she pulls open the door to relieve Ganju kneeling on the other side. "You," both Ichigo, Ganju and Naruto yell at one other. "You know one other already," Kukaku deadpans. Ichigo and Ganju both jump at one other, starting a fistfight. Kukaku watches on with boredom. Naruto somehow had got Yoruichi back in his arms again without anyone seeing him do it. Not that Yoruichi mind. She loved the loving, it is petting or rubbing of the ears and belly, you sick perverse people. "Yes, I know who you are," Naruto gave her. Orihime look worried that Ichigo would get hurt. Naruto notes his and starts to make a plan to get them together. Soon all was seen was a cloud of dust moving around the room, showing everyone where the fight was moving. Kukaku pulls her pipe from her mouth as Itu roll near her, making her drop her pipe. Getting ready to reach down to pick it up, someone's foot, step on it, breaking it. Naruto places his hand over Yoruichi's eyes and his own, knowing what was coming next. Wham! Wham! Naruto remove his hands from Yoruichi and his own eyes to see Ichigo and Ganju both lying on the floor, being yelled at by Kukaku. "That was my favor's pipe, you punks," Kukaku yells. "But sis, he started it." Ganju tries to start, only for Kukaku slam her foot into the back of his head, making him face plant. Ichigo is slowly getting up when Kukaku's arm somehow stretches across the room to grab his head. "Yo punk. If you got a problem with the way I do things around here, get lost, got that," Kukaku says as she slams Ichigo into the floor. "Yay go Kukaku Obasan." Naruto knowing the move she just used, since he had been on the receiving end of it a few times. Everyone turned to look at him if he was crazy. "Okay, listen up and follow me," Kukaku tells them as she start walk out of the room as the teens plus Ganju and Yoruichi follow her. Naruto looks around the room before running off to find something to do. Walking around the house, Naruto finds himself back outside, looking at the two men that met them earlier work on a crank of some kind. Feeling the ground move, Naruto looks down to see the chimney start to break and turn into a large black cannon. Naruto leaps back and watches with awe as the cannon rise from the ground before stopping. Standing at the base of the cannon was Kukaku and crew. "This is no time for jokes. I do not know what type of technician you are, but shoot us out of that thing. It's impossible." Uryu yells at Kukaku, who throws a weird ball-like object at him, bouncing it off his head into Ichigo's hands. "What's this?" Ichigo asks, looking at the ball. "It's a spirit core," Kukaku tells him as she points at it. "Hold on to it and give it your spiritual energy." Ichigo looks at it. "Oi, how do I give it spiritual energy?" "Huh," Kukaku says in shock. "Ganju, show him." Ganju once again began to fight over the core. Naruto, watching, thought it was some sort of a game, so running up he grabs it right of Ichigo's hands. "Yay, I am winning," Naruto says as he runs around with the core over his head, making Ichigo and Ganju both give chase after him. Kukaku watches this, wondering how long Ichigo and Ganju would last. An hour later, Ganju now was crawling after Naruto. Ichigo was still running after him, still not sure how he was able to stay so far ahead of him. Coming up to the 3-hour mark, Ichigo was now laying on his back, eagle spread. Naruto was standing over him with the core still in hand, looking down at him. Come on Strawberry-chan, I still want to play, Naruto whines. Ganju was slowly getting before trying to sneak up on Naruto. Lunging, Naruto sidesteps it, making Ganju crash into Ichigo. Kukaku, growing tired of the game, walks over to the three. Naruto-kun, can I have the core please? Kukaku asks, not wanting to hit him over the head and suffer the wrath of his mother and grandmother. Okay, but you got to play with me later, Naruto says as he hands her the core, then runs off to find something to do. How? Pant, can, pant, that, pant, kid, pant, have, pant, so, pant, much, pant, energy. Pant, Ichigo asks as he tries to breathe normally once again. Because what happened the day he was born, Kukaku why? Spurs to herself and Yoruichi who was on her head. Okay, you for brats time to train since Ganju here could not show you, I will. Yoruichi hopes to the ground and walks away as Kukaku begins to channel her spiritual energy into the core, making a bubble form around her. Now you know what it looks like, you should be able to make one. Take them away. Kukaku turns her back to them as the two large men that they met when they got to her house carry them off. Looking up at the cannon, Kukaku lets out a sigh. Turning around, she find a person in his early 20s. This was not the sort of play I thought you had in mind, Kukaku says with a playful grin. Boom. Kukaku comes running down the hallway to the training room in her house. The teens follow behind her, wondering why she was wet and had flaming red hair now. Coming up to the room, Kukaku notes Ganju trying to back up into a wall. What happened? Kukaku yells at him as they get closer. I did not know this would happen. I just told him my secret way of doing it, Ganju says in fear, still looking into the room. Kukaku looks into the room. In the room, Ichigo was pushing all his energy into the core, making a large bubble around him. Hey idiot, what do you think you're doing? Focus and refine your energy already, Kukaku shouts as soap suds fall of her face. Ichigo does as he says, making his entire friends gasp at this. I did it. Oh right, Kurosuke-kun, Orihime says happily, knowing Ichigo would not be left behind. Yeah. Hey Kukaku-san, why is your hair red now? Ichigo asks, not noticing the crack starting to form. You idiot. Don't lose concentration. Kukaku yells, notes a large crack forming on the bubble before everyone else. Huh, is all that Ichigo got out before boom. One beating of Ichigo and Ganju later. You have your work cut out for you, Kukaku says to Naruto, who was petting Yoruichi as he sat in Kukaku lap again. I concur. However, it also seems that Ichigo has grown stronger, Yoruichi says as she purrs. Hey Obasan, I'm sorry for dyeing your hair red, Naruto says finally. It's fine Naruto-kun, I should have known better than to turn my back on you when you're in the bath. Anyway, are you ready to go tomorrow since we are getting up early? Kukaku checks. Hi. I made sure to pack everything I need after I got out of the bath and got dressed. I even pack extra squeaky toys for Yoruichi-chan. As soon as he finishes, Yoruichi cuts his face with her claws again. I do not need any squeaky toys, Naruto, Yoruichi says with a cat-like grin. But I pack it the mouse one for you, Naruto says with a pout. Mouse one? Yoruichi asks. Yay, the one that you wind up before letting go, Naruto says happily, hoping he got something she like. Okay, you can keep that one. But the other ones bust go or else, Yoruichi says, looking at Naruto with a glare. Kukaku chuckles at this, seeing how well Yoruichi had Naruto wrap around her paw. Okay, Naruto says, not wanting to get scratch again. Since you need to take care of that, Naruto-kun, go do it since it is bedtime, Kukaku says. While you're doing that, Yoruichi Dono will make sure the brats are in bed. Okay Obasan, Naruto says as he does as he is told. Kukaku gets up to pull out the bedroll. Once Naruto finishes, Kukaku picks him up, lays down with him, knowing Yoruichi would take a long time getting the brats, as she called them, to bed. Naruto snuggles into her before starting to breath slowly, telling Kukaku he was asleep. Making sure Kukaku goes to sleep as well, knowing Yoruichi would just find a place to lay on top of them. Before falling off to sleep, Kukaku hears Naruto mumble something. Night Kushina Obasan. Kissing the top of his head, Kukaku feels a small sharp pain, knowing what happened to Kushina. Night Naruto-kun. I bet right half of why. Oh, you know what happened to Kushina, and the other half are trying to find a way get me to tell you. If you do know, please do not say. It will all be explained. Next chapter I will have two fights in Naruto. meeting up with Unohana and his Ba-chan and a few other members of his family. In addition, the caption and vice-caption meeting will be there as well. If you want any characters to be, tell me now. The only ones who will not be there are Jiraiya, Shizune, Minato, the third Hokage, Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke. A few of them I made plans for what happened to them. The others we can live without them since I do not like them. Traders anyways, please leave a review and do not tell if you think you know what happened to Kushina or else. Jin stands in front of a large doorway for a minute before walking in. As the door opens, an old voice could be heard. Everyone here. Alright then. We will now begin with the subject of our meeting, Ichimaru Jin. Captain of 3rd Division. What's going on? Jin asks with that fox-like smile as he makes his way to the place he stands at. Is it really that bad to need to call everyone here? Captains from around the Soul Society, did you really come back here just for me? Jin then notes one of the captains missing. It seems the 13th captain is not here. Has something happened to him? A dark-skinned man with black braided hair wearing glass answers. He is excused for injuries. He's not healed yet. Well, good luck to him, Jin says, looks down for a minute. Stop wasting time. Nobody came all the way back here for chit-chat, another captain tells Jin. This one stood 3rd tallest captain. He would be the tallest if you counted on his spike hair. He had a scar going down the left side his face over the eye. A patch covered his right eye. It's time to deal with what you did. You did not kill your target, another captain, this time with white and black face paint and a weird-looking hat, told him. I thought I did, Jin replies. This starts up a whole argument until the head captain yells. Before he could go on, alarms start to go off all through at the Soul Society. All the captains look worried and began to make their way back to their squads. 4th squad captain stays for a minute. You know, captain, if he is with them. My squad and I will not aid you. I also feel a few other captains will not join you either to stop him, Unohana tells him softly. I understand. I ask you just help those who need it. If it comes down to it, I will fight him, the head captain tells her. Unohana smiles before leaving. On her way, she sees a blonde woman with a vice captain armband on her right arm. The woman was leaning up against a wall waiting. So Captain Unohana, what do we do now? The woman asks, as she looks around with her brown eyes. Tsunade-san, how many times does I tell you not to call me that? Unohana says to her friend, mother-in-law, and vice captain. Fine. So what side are we going to take if your son and my grandson show up? Tsunade asks. Yamamoto just asks us to heal those who need help. That way we can aid Naru-chan but stay within the laws, Unohana says as they walk back to the squad area. I am worried what will happen if he release her thou. I thought he told you, Tsunade starts. He sent her to spy on a few hollows that seem dangers close in becoming Vasto Lord. I think he does not want to deal with any or have her just make sure they understand who is top dog or fox. Then we do not need to worry about her then, but it still bothers me, the Jin was there. Knowing Naru-chan, he would make sure everyone go out okay. But they will have trouble getting in here again. Never mind, they seem to be here, Unohana says looking up at the sky. Tsunade looks up as well, seeing a large non-ball strike the shield covering them. So it does. I wonder how his trip went. Do you think he turned into a pervert? Tsunade asks with a smile. No, we have stayed here too long, Unohana says, bef. Or heading inside to get ready for the injuries to start rolling in. Tsunade follows her in before getting to work as well. All over the Soul Society everyone was looking up at the large ball of energy hit the shield. Many gasped in fear and shocks as it kept pushing against it, soon passing through the shield. With the teens, we are not falling, Ichigo says. All of them hang in midair. Everyone, grab one other, the tornado is about to come, Yoruichi yells at them. Naruto, who somehow gets Yoruichi once again in his arms even though he was the farthest away from her. Soon a large vortex of doom forms. Everyone starts grabbing onto one another. Naruto, seeing that Yoruichi would need to keep an eye on everyone, throws her a Chad who throw Orihime but thanks of slip up with Yoruichi landing on his shoulder. Orihime goes flying at Naruto instead of Uryu. Uryu for himself is the first to be pulled and followed by Yoruichi and Chad. Ichigo and Ganju go next with Naruto and Orihime. Naruto using His powers gives him and Orihime a better chance at getting close to Squad 4 before anyone finds them. Orihime grabs Naruto before summoning her powers to make a large triangle-shaped shield for THM to land on right over Squad 4's officers' quarters. Orihime is knocking out by the blow, making Naruto carry her inside. Placing her in the captain's room, Naruto goes running off. Reaching the hospitable, Naruto starts sneaking around. Finds a changing room. Looking in, he thanks Kami it was the men's. Looking through the lockers, he finds some clothing. Making a weird hand sign, Naruto is covered in a cloud of white smoke. Once the smoke clears, in the place Naruto stood was a man about 20 or so. He had the same whisker-like marks as Naruto, but his hair was much longer, and had a few red highlights. His hair reaches the base of his spine. Pulling out a small ribbon, the man ties his hair in a lost ponytail. Looking around, the man slips on the clothing he stole, making him look like any other Soul Reaper running around. Picking up the katana, the man ties it to his left hip before leaving the changing room. Walking down the hall, the man stops in front of a paper sliding door. Looking on at either end of the hall, the man opens it and walks in. Unohana hears the door to her office open and looks up to see the blonde-haired man. She smiles at him as she stands up. I was wondering when you would show up, Naru-chan. Sorry, but we had to take the long way since Strawberry-chan rushed in. Not thinking, Naruto says, hugging his mother. Anyway, his girlfriend is out cold in your room since. I thought it would be the safe place to hide her. Unohana leans up a little to kiss him on the cheek. That's fine, I will send the third seat to check up on her. That's Azane Onichan. You're next, Lieutenant. If Ba-chan ever takes the captain test, Naruto says as they sit down, in case someone walks in to make it look like a meeting, but we both know she will never do that. Yes, we do, and very good on remembering who Azane-san was. Unohana says with a soft smile. Anyway, did you enjoy your trip? Yes, I was able to meet up with Yoruichi and the old man. Though they did have to blackmail me to get me to join Strawberry-chan. Other than that, I enjoyed it, Naruto says with a large smile. Good, Tsunade is working in ER4 right now, go give her a hand. I will go take care of our guests, Unohana tells him as they both stands up. Oh, your room is still empty if you need a place to stay. Is it for Orihime-san? Naruto tells her, knowing his room only a few people could get into. I will stay as a kid until need be. But I will stop by Ba-chan first. Still having the nightmare then? Unohana asks. Yes, is all Naruto say before leaving. Unohana sighs before going to check on their guests. On her way, she stops at the head desk used to check non-emergency in. Azane-san, can you come with me? Azane looks up from her look. Her silver hair hang to the side into long braid. The rest of her hair was in a mess. She had two long red tube earrings, one hanging from each ear. Standing up, she stood over Unohana by a good foot. Hi, Unohana-sama. Good, please, this way, Unohana tells her before leading her back to the officer quarters. Once there, Unohana heads straight for her room. Opening the door, she finds Orihime still sound asleep on her bed. Azane-san, I need you to take care of our guests here. No one is to know about her other than Tsunade-san and me, Unohana tells her with her scary smile. Moving over to her bed, Unohana runs a few scans on Orihime to see if anything was wrong or just knock out. Seeing nothing wrong, Unohana places her hand on the girl's forehead. After a minute, Orihime's eyes start to flutter open. Looking around, she sees two women near her. I am glad you are awake, Orihime-san. Unohana says. First, bring the girl's eyes back onto her. This is a nice room for a prison, Orihime says, making Azane face plant to the floor. Unohana smiles at this. This is my room. I am Unohana Retsu Namikaze. This here is Azane Katetsu. She will be keeping an eye on you, Unohana tells her with one of her scary smiles, making sure she understands. Orihime sui. T drops at this as she nods her head dumbly. Her face changes after a minute as she hits her fist into her open palm of her left. Do you know a Naruto Retsu Namikaze? Orihime asks. Yes, he is my son, Unohana says before leaving. Orihime looks at Azane with her jaw on the floor, making Azane giggle a little. Slowly coming back to her senses, she lets out a loud yell. Once she calmed down, Azane smiles shyly at her. Is there anything I could get you to eat, Orihime-san? No, I'm good, Orihime says before her stomach lets out a loud growl. This way, Orihime-san, let's get you something to wear as well to keep you from standing out. As they walk down the hallway another way. He has 2 zanpakuto hanging from his hip. The man stops in front of a door with a paper seal on it. Orihime stops to watch him, wondering why he did not say anything to her. Biting his thumb, the man runs his thumb down the seal, leaving a small trail of blood behind. Turning, he walks past Orihime and Azane, again nodding as Azane before leaving. Orihime then notes that he was just a little bit taller than Azane. Azane-san, who was that? Orihime asks, wondering what happened. That was Naruto. I wonder why he removes the safety seal on his room. Azane mumbles the last part. That can't be Naruto-kun. Naruto-kun is only 5 years old. He looks 20, Orihime says as she starts to go into on of her rants, how that purrs. On could have been an alien robot using a hologram to hide itself as an older Naruto. Azane was tempted to tell Orihime that Naruto hides himself as a 5-year-old or some young-age child because great things come in small packages. There was another reason, but she would not tell anyone unless Naruto told them first, even on pain of death. Everyone who knew him would die first before telling anyone about him. She remembered the 12th squad captain trying to find a file on Naruto since his name came up on 2 different captains' files. He even tried using truth potion on her since he figured she would be the easiest to break. Azane almost bite her tongue off if Unohana had not shown up with head captain Yamamoto and Tsunade. She later found out he ended up in a coma for 6 months thanks to Tsunade and Unohana. After that, no one asked about him again. Though it did seem Aizen snoop around trying to get a little information on him, but always stop when told to. With Naruto, Naruto made his way down the streets heading to a tall white tower. On his way he stops off at Squad 2 training ground. Sitting in a tree he watches as the squad not out searching for him and the rest of the teens rain under the watchful eyes of their captain. Soifin kept yelling at her men to do the drill faster or do it better. Naruto shook his head seeing this division was supposed to be the best at stealth, but here he was sitting in the middle of an army of assassins in a tree. Naruto looked closely at Soifin one last time, before leaving. Making his way to the tower, Naruto feels a large amount of spiritual pressure aim at him. Standing there, Naruto starts to grin like a fox. Come out, whoever you are, Naruto calls out to the person hiding. Leaping down behind him stood Soifin. So what can I do for you? Naruto asks as he turned to face her. Soifin glares up at him. Standing at 4 feet 11 inches, she was the second shortest captain to date. Her black hair hangs in 2 tails behind her. I want to know why you were spying on me, Soifin demands. Naruto senses 30 more men and women land down near him, making sure he could not get away. Naruto just gives Soifin his fox-like grin. I just wanted to see the best squad out there next to Squad 4. Naruto tells her as his left hand sits on the hilt of his katana in the green sheath with what dark lines that made it look like it had leaves covering it. The other one is sky blue with a silver dragon flying on it. Naruto knew blades would be drawn no matter what he said. Soifin did not say anything as she works his words over, trying to find the lie in it. What squad are you in? She asked, knowing this was the only way to catch him. Squad 4, Naruto lies since he made sure he could not be tied down to a squad since he did not want to get his Ka-chan, Ba-chan or other family members and squad mates in trouble if pulled a prank. Nevertheless, most who knew him knew if he was to be placed in a squad he would fight tooth and nail to be in Squad 4. Soifin picks up the lie and places her hand on the hilt of her sword. So you're one of the Ryoka. A shame you stopped to watch, you may have gotten away with it too if it was not for you middling kids. Captain, I think you have been watching. Scooby-Doo, where are you? A little too much, a man said behind her. Shut up, Soifin said at the man, keeping her eyes on Naruto, who just kept smiling. So you have anything else to say before I leave, or can I go? Naruto asks, grinning even more. You're not going anywhere, Soifin says as he brings her sword all the way out, making everyone shift. Soifin, or should I say Shaolin Fan. When will you learn? You may be head of the stealth and assassin squad, but you're nowhere near the level of someone who ran a village that trained in the art of stealth and assassin since the age of 5, Naruto says as he draws the blade sheath in the leaf cover sheath. The blade itself was a dark green with an etching of a leaf on it, so let's take this somewhere else then. Naruto vanish in a shunpo. Soifin follows him, leaving behind her men who lose them. Both reappear in an open field with a forest surrounding it. Naruto just smiles at Soifin. I'm surprised you were able to keep up and follow me. Not many can keep up with me. Soifin draws her full blade before charging in. Naruto block 3 strikes before Soifin vanishes. Stick the flat of his blade along his back. Naruto stops Soifin from stabbing him in the back. Naruto vanish before reappearing a few feet away. Soifin, if you wish to kill me you will need to stop acting the way you are. Naruto says as he places his left hand at the tip of his blade. The way I act has nothing with you dying, Soifin screams as she charges at Naruto again. Naruto blocks the attack, locking both in a duel for control. But it does you remind me of person that I know, Naruto says with a fox-like grin. In fact I could say you are his clone, only female, by the way you act. Thinking you are better. Just because you're a captain or some other stupid reason. Both jump back. Soifin lowers her blade a little, wanting to hear a little more before she killed him. Seeing this, Naruto continues, he let anger rule his life. All he wanted was power, and in the end, it was that power that killed him. He left his home and turned on his own friends just so he could have power. However, after he reached his goal, he did not return. Instead he kept on going, only wanting to kill those who had done wrong to him and his family. When in fact it was his own family's doing that led to them being killed. He had so many people wanting to help him and care for him. In fact, a few even loved him. Sadly, no matter what happened he would not listen to reason. He never found peace because of this. I do not sound like this person at all, Soifin says with a smirk before charging again. Naruto blocks her attack again. But you do. You want to kill Yoruichi-chan because she left you behind. I can see it in your eyes. If you kill her, you will hurt many other people. And those people will come after you. In the end, everyone will get hurt. Soifin looks at him before vanishing once again and reappearing behind him with her sword neck to his throat. You should not have let your guard down. Who said I did? Naruto replies as he vanishes, then reappears a few feet away looking as Soifin. Now since we are done with the warm-up, let's play. Hide Roku Cage 6 Shadows. Naruto's sword starts glowing. The glow starts to take over Naruto. Once the glow vanishes, Naruto is standing in an orange pants and orange jacket with black sleeves. He has a red cloak with black flames running along the bottom. On his right leg above his knee was a small tool pouch to hold his gear. On his back was his other Zanpakuto. His left arm had a beaded necklace wrap around it. Hanging around his neck was a black headband with what looked like a leaf etched into the metal plate on it. Soifin starts to look him over. She could not feel any power boost that Bankai gives, so she could not figure out why his clothing changes. Roku Cage is a special Zanpakuto. It does not have a real Shikai. In fact, it goes straight to Bankai. However, it is Bankai has 2 levels. This level lets me tap into my chakra that was sealed away when I came here, and all but a few of my powers I had. I usually have Roku Cage release at all times and keep it hidden on me. However, coming here made me want to change that. I am no longer Ka-chan or Ba-chan little boy. I am now the Yellow Flash, Naruto says before vanishing in a flash of yellow. Soifin leans back out of years of training. In Naruto, hand is a kunai that is aimed at her neck. Soifin eyes grow big at the speed Naruto was able to travel at. I will be fair and only use that move one more time. Moreover, I will not go Bankai for you. Even then I do not think you can win without going Bankai yourself. Soifin scowls at him, making it sound like she was a child. Screaming, Soifin charged in with blind rage, not knowing this was what Naruto wanted her to do. Naruto swing his arm up as to cut Soifin right arm off. Soifin no think anything of it, keep charging only to yell out in pain. Looking down to where her right arm should be is a bloody stump. Throwing her left hand over trying to stop the bleeding, Soifin looks back to see her arm lying in a pool of blood on the grass that now had turned red. I am sorry but I must get going, Naruto says as he walks past her. Stopping, Naruto reaches down and picks up her arm. Walking back over, he stops behind her. If you want I can reattach your arm. But it will not be healed to the point of using it in a real fight. Why are you doing this? Soifin asks before groaning in pain. Because I do not want to see you go down the same path my friend did. Now move your left hand so I can put this arm back, or do you want your right arm on your left hand? It would make it very useful to get the hard-to-reach place on your back, Naruto says lightly as he moves Soifen's hand. Placing the arm on Naruto makes sure it is lined up. Running his finger down the cut, Soifen watches as he reattaches her arm. Taking a clean cloth, Naruto wipes away the blood, showing only a small scar. There, that should hold till you get to Squad 4, Naruto says as he stands up. Oh, do not try following me, because if you do I will not hold back next time. And you better not if we ever cross paths. Quote. Soifen stands up and turns to see Naruto vanish once more. Walking, slowing over to her sword, Soifen picks it up before vanishing. Soifen appears outside of the hospital that was built within Squad 4 compounds. It took up half the compound. Standing at 30 stories high, it was the highest squad building around. If one were to stand on top, you could see all the way to Squad 12. Walking in, she finds Captain Unohana standing talking to a nurse about a missing personnel. No body was found would lead them to believe kidnap. Unohana bows to the person she is talking to before turning to Soifen. Captain Soifen, Unohana says with a smile. What can I do for you? I need my arm heal, Soifen says, spiting. Unohana takes a closer look before smiling. If you will go to my office I will help. I need to help Tsunade-san first. I need it healed now, Soifen yells. Captain Soifen, your arm can heal on its own for 2 weeks, or I can take care of it in an hour. Unohana tells her, knowing Naruto probably place a delay healing spell in the arm to finish healing it. Fine, Soifen says, sitting down in the waiting room. Still seething that she was not being helped first, she did not notice Orihime walk by her. Orihime, for her part, was now dressed like everyone else who was not a captain or a nurse. Following Azane, she look around in awe. Unohana hand SA file to a nurse before turning to the two. Ah, Orihime-san. I hope you are feeling better, Unohana says with her scary smile. Yes, thank you, Orihime says with a shaky smile. Restu-san, is there any reason? Azane slaps her hands over Orihime's mouth before dragging her away. She laughs nervously at the looks she was getting. Orihime, for her part, was flaying her arms around. Azane would they kept backing up if she not ran into another person. Looking up, she shivers seeing the captain of Squad 12 standing there. Now Azane, if I did not know better, it looks like you are trying to hide that person there. He says, pointing at Orihime. If she is an enemy, she needs to be taken in. Azane gulps, hoping to all hope that Unohana would show up. Only something better happened. Empty field somewhere. In an empty field, a large ripple forms in the air. Slowly the rip starts to grow bigger, forming a large hole in the air. A large red fox leaps out, landing on the ground. Standing as tall as a large warhorse, the fox turns its head, looking around. Its red-orange fur move in the breeze. Behind it, 9 tails wag in the air before standing straight up. Turning its head, it seemed to be wearing a white mask of sorts on its face. Looking, it notes another rip forming. Waiting for it to form, the fox vanish, leave the next person or animal to enter the area alone. A humanoid step out of the rip. Street. Epping softly on the ground, it looks around. Cover in white armor, it has the form of female. On both her shoulders seemed to be fins point to her head. Her left hand was claw-like, the point looking like shark teeth. Her right arm looked like it had a large shark-like tooth for a blade. A white mask like the fox covered her mouth, only it had a mouth, straight lines like Jaws from James Bond Teach. Her green eyes show brightly. The mask shows little for any nose, giving a wide opening for her eyes, showing bronze skin. Going around to the back of her head, it raced down her back into a long tail with a fin on it. On both legs were 3 gill-like slits. Her silver hair cover the top part of he mask. She was a hollow and the close to becoming a Vasto Lord. She had ran across the only no Vasto Lord alive. She had plans to devour her to grow into the next Vasto Lord. Only problem was the bloody fox seemed to be able stay 200 steps ahead of her. Looking around, the hollow notes the fox laying down at the feet of a person standing in the shadows of a tree, hiding his face. Greetings, hollow, came the voice of a 5-year-old. The hollow does not move, keeping her eyes on the person as the person step into the light. Her eyes grow wide, wondering why a Vasto Lord would rest at the feet of human child. The hollow gets ready to kill the child and the fox to become a Vasto Lord. I should warn you, Hollow-chan. Kyuubi-chan will not let any harm come to me. So why not lower your arm and let us talk, the boy says, keeping his cool. Talk then, the hollow states dryly as she lowers her arm. Not talkative are we. Anyway, I'm Naruto, this here is Kyuubi-chan, Naruto say, petting the fox who gives him a lick on the face making him giggle. The hollow takes a step back. In all her years she never seen anyone like him. Turning, she made to leave, no longer caring to become a vasto lord. I did not get your name, Hollow-chan. I also have an offer for you. Tia Harabel, the hollow says, turning back to face Naruto. Tia, I like that name, Naruto says with a smile. Now the offer. Kyuubi-chan here is going to be staying with me since a war is coming. I am in need of a voice if you will in swords to make sure other hollows do not try to become vasto lord. I had to deal with 8 not counting Kyuubi-chan. What is your offer? Tia says dryly, make it sound like she had no emotions. Be my voice and sword. And soon to be my eyes and ears. If you agree, I will help you become a vasto lord. If you become my eyes and ears, you will become an Arankar. Why should I? A. I can see it in your eyes. You will not hurt children. B. All hollows want to become vasto lord. C. I would like to see what you would look like if you were human. And D. You look cute like that now. I bet as a vasto lord you will become beautiful, and as an Arankar drop dead gorgeous, or as the crazy shopkeeper would say, hot as heck or sexy as heck. Pig, Tia tells him. Hey, I'm not a pig. If NY think I would either be a fox or a dragon, Naruto says as smoke covers him. When the smoke vanish, he is standing in his true form. Kneeling down, Naruto pets the Kyuubi, rubbing her ears. Looking up, Naruto smiles up at Tia Harabel. So do you agree? Or am I going to need to kill you? Harabel knew Naruto and the Kyuubi could both kill her if they want to as soon as she enters the area, even now they were letting her live. Giving Naruto a sharp nod, Naruto smiles even more before pulling out a kunai. Holding his left arm out, Naruto cuts one of the Kyuubi's tails, making her bite down on his arm. Grabbing it with his right hand, he throws it to Tia. Tia grabs it with her left hand before opening her mouth. Most think when a hollow eats another hollow, they eat it like any other wild animal does. Most do, but many of the upper class hollows like Tia just need to open their mouth and breath in to take in the energy. As soon as the tail vanished, Tia is covered in a bright yellow light of immense spiritual power. Soon the light turns to a sea green color before spiking to a new height. Tia for herself was in pain. She never knew change would hurt so much. She felt her fin on her shoulders start to withdraw into her armor. Next was her right arm. The sword also vanish into her arm, leave another claw-like hand. Next on both arms, fin-like blades start to form halfway between the elbow and the rest. Her gill-like marks on her legs heal over, leaving them white legs. They move to the pace behind her ears if she had any. Her mask changes will. Her chin lost the point it first had. Next, her teeth on the mask gain points, giving her more of a shark-like feel. Her chest plait also changed, giving her more of a female form, filling out more. Her tail remained the same other than its grew a little long, almost now dragging on the ground when she stood straight up. Naruto watches and waiting to see what would happen. He also knew time was running out. Every captain would be running this way. And if any of them saw this, he would be killed and his family would lose all the honor they had gained. As the light dies down, Naruto almost goes flying back from a nosebleed. Yep, she was going to be one heck of a bombshell as an Arankar. With a large blush on his face, he could hear the Kyuubi yipping at him. Glaring at her, Naruto turns back to Tia. Tia looks at him before dropping to one knee, place her left arm on her left leg. Her right arm out on the ground with her hand in a fist. She bow her head in respect, making Naruto blush even more. Naruto does the one thing Tia did not expect him to do. He grabs her left hand, pulling her to her feet. Still looking up at him, Tia would blush if she could. Naruto-sama, Harabel says with a stutter, making Naruto back up, seeing a double image. Standing right next to Tia was his first wife. Shaking his head, he placed that in the back of his mind to work on later. Tia-chan, I need you to leave now. Return to Hawako Mundo. I will contact you within 2 weeks. If any Shinigami show up, report to me at once. I am going to implant what you need to know to contact me and how I will contact you, Naruto tells her as he places his hand on her foe. Rehead, making blush even more if she could. Not she would say it, even under death, she found Naruto to be very handsome in his own way. The whisker marks gave him a ferial look, and with his power he knew at once he was the alpha male or fox if you ask the Kyuubi. Tia closes her eyes as Naruto forces the information into her mind. Once she had learned it, Naruto turns her around whispering in her ear. Go now or there will be trouble for the both of us. Tia nods her head before leaving the same way the Kyuubi came. Naruto looked to see the Kyuubi is regrown the tail he cut off. Walking over Naruto changes back into his 5-year-old form. Climbing onto her back, Naruto grabs onto the fur and skin of the Kyuubi's neck. Looking back at him, the Kyuubi leaps away after getting a nod. It was the second night. Many had not slept in the past few nights. With the enemy running around everyone but Squad 4 was on high alert. Naruto for his part was having fun. He already pulls a few pranks. Watch Ichigo beat up a vice captain, then take on the most bloodthirsty captain, ending in a draw. Now he was keeping eye on the last of the teens who was not being watched by someone more powerful than himself. Right now, he was trying to sneak through the streets. Ishida was able to stay hidden pretty well other than a few fights. Most he was able to finish quickly and without any problems. Now he was going to run into a problem. The captain of the 12 squad was following him. Naruto stood next to the Kyuubi. He had not sealed her back into her sword form. He wanted her close in case anything happened. Ishida stepped out from behind an archway when he notes two people standing in front of him. Ryu's eyes shift over them, taking the way they are standing in. After a short talk, Ryu attacks. Firing one arrow at the captain, vanishing, he fires another one. I'm not bad, but you need to be faster than that, Mayuri says with a large grin. Shame I have to kill you. Soon Ryu was firing arrows trying to keep Mayuri back. Only problem was Mayuri vice captain jump up grabbing him as her captain cut them both. Falling to the ground, Ryu growls as he watches the girl is beaten for not holding onto him. Naruto for his part had to be held back by the Kyuubi. Another chat began with Mayuri stabbing Ryu in the arm, trying to get him scream and telling him about the poison in the blade, making it impossible for him to move but still feel pain. He then went on to brag about all he did in the name of science. Naruto knew it was getting close for him to step in. Standing up, Naruto throws a kunai with a paper bomb down in between Ryu and the mad captain. The explosion stops Mayuri, making him wonder if Ryu had done that. Ryu for his part was thankful it gave him time to stand. Reaching F or his glove, Ryu got ready to break a promise he made in his glove when a hand shoots out. Naruto once again in his true form grabs Yuryu's hand, stopping him. Your Gigi would not approve of this, Yuri. You now leave before you get caught in the crossfire, Naruto tells him, keeping his eyes on the dust cloud of smoke. Soon the cloud blows away, leave an angry Mayuri with a glare that screamed bloody murder. Ryu for his part knew whoever this man was, he was not enemy. The only problem, he could barely feel any Retsu coming from the person. Ryu moves to stand in front of him only to go flying back. Wards thanks to an elbow strike by Naruto. I told you to get out of here, Ryu. Now leave, next time I will drop kick you, Naruto says, turning to look at him. Once they make eye contact, Naruto floods the area with his Retsu, forcing Ryu to take a step back just to remain standing. Turning to look back at Mayuri, Naruto gives him a fox-like grin. Ryu now understands he underestimated the man in front of him. Turning, Ryu runs away for one of the first times in his life. Naruto, standing in his Shinigami uniform, looks at Mayuri. Seeing the captain cloak makes him grin even more. First Soy Fan and now Mayuri. This must be my lucky week. I get to take down the two of the 6 captains I want to take down the most. Soy Fan for her anger, and you for hurting my family, Naruto says as he draws a 3-prong kunai with a seal wrap around the hilt. I told Soy Fan I will only use this 2 times, but for you. His voice darkens to the point any rational man would either run, lose all control of his bowl's movement, or both. I will not hold back with it. Do you can think you can beat me, boy, Mayuri says with a grin, showing he was not saying one bit. I am a captain, in Naruto van-ish, coming in low with a cut to the chest. Mayuri jumps back, getting a small cut along his chest, making him wonder whom this person was. Charging back in, Mayuri hopes to get a hit so he could disarm Naruto and study him. Only Naruto did not plan to let that happen. Ducking under another cut, Naruto comes back up with a knee in Mayuri in the cecum, right above the right side of the hip bone, making him double over in pain. Shifting his weight to the leg he just uses, Naruto slams his other knee into Mayuri's face. Leaping back, Naruto takes a deep breath as he runs through hand seals. Holding the last one, Tiger. In front of his mouth, Naruto release a large fire ball at Mayuri. Mayuri jumps to the side only, to be forced to block another attack, this time from another katana. Naruto, now holding his katana in his left hand, shifts his weight, cutting Mayuri's chest with the kunai. Mayuri counters by pulling a kusarigama out of his ear and throws it at Naruto. Ducking under it, Naruto swings his body under the rope before charging again. Throwing the kunai, Mayuri sidestep the kunai, only for Naruto to vanish in a yellow flash. A deep cut along his right arm emerges, as does Naruto, behind him, who tries to run Mayuri through with his sword. Mayuri vanish before reappearing a good 30 feet away. I was going to let you live, but now I am going to kill you. Bankia, Kanjiki Ashizogi Jizo. The baby's head on the guard opens its mouth as it produces a giant creature with the body of a caterpillar in a red cape, with a grotesque golden baby's head and arms with a silver halo hovering around its head. Near the back of the halo are 4 bells, 2 on each side. Naruto looks up at it in wonder, wondering if he should let her have some fun. Bankia, already you're no fun. Nevertheless, if you wish to play that way, then I will join in. But I think I will let my third blade have the honors, Naruto says with a sharp whistle at the end. The Kyuubi leaps down next to him. Naruto rests his hand on her head before speaking again. Bankia, Kitsune no Subite no Kyubai no Juo Hakai Suru. The Kyuubi glows red as it grows in size to 300 feet tall. Mayuri looks up and grins until the Kyuubi lets out a roar. Thus becomes one of the many who has a sudden veils movement. Not very pretty if you were trying to sway the girl of your dreams. Naruto for his part just stood below the Kyuubi looking at Mayuri. Bankia. Kyuubi, see that baby-headed caterpillar? That's your new chew toy, Naruto say with a large fox grin. The Kyuubi grins before biting down on the caterpillar, destroying it in one go. Naruto vanish before slamming his fist into Mayuri's chest. Moving into a grapple, Naruto flips him over him so hard and fast Mayuri goes flying, leaving only his arm behind. Standing up, Mayuri moves to attack when another explosion goes off. As the smoke clears, once again Mayuri is standing with a large hole in his chest and gutted. Spitting up blood, Mayuri slams his blade into himself before re-exploding into goo of some sort and running away. Naruto wills the Kyuubi back into her other form, making her shrink back to the size of a horse. Naruto looks around before spotting a woman leaning up against a broken wall. Walking over to her, he smiles before making a few hand sighs. His hand starts to glow green. Running it over her arm, she watches as her arm starts to heal. Moving to the D.P cut in her side, Naruto feels the Kyuubi walk up behind him. You did good, girl, Naruto tells them both. You for staying still. If you had moved or tried to run, Kyuubi-chan here would most likely would have killed you. And to you, Kyuubi-chan, you took out the ugly baby thing. Naruto stands up once finished and hopes onto the Kyuubi back. Giving the woman a nod, he pats the Kyuubi's side, telling her get moving. The both vanish, leaving the woman to wonder who he was. Hawako Mundo. Harabel stood in front of a throne. The hollow sitting on it and demand for her to come. Harabel knew it would be best to not cause problems. If she were going to serve her master, she would need not to cause any problems. The hollow sitting on the throne was old, one of the oldest hollows. Harabel remember him will. He demand all other hollows bow down to him. The hollow was in fact a human skeleton with a purple robe with black fringe. He had 2 gold bracelets with a matching crown. He had rest his head on his left hand that was in a fist. Tell me, Harabel, how is it you leave for an hour and return stronger? The hollow asked. It took him a day to find her and another day for her to arrive. When she had returned to Hawako Mundo, everyone felt her new strength. Many planned to kill her to gain it themselves. However, this hollow knew better. He was going to make her serve him. I wounded the great Kyuubi. Tia tells him with no emotion like before. So the Kyuubi is still alive, the hollow demands. Yes, Baragan. Shinigami felt our battle forcing me to retreat. As what happened to the great Kyuubi I am unsure of, Tia tells him. She would not tell him that the great Kyuubi server her master is or who her master was. Good, with the Kyuubi wounded we will be able to take it down when she reappears. Baragan says with a grin if he could do anything else other than grin. Tia just stood where she was at waiting for Baragan to tell her he was either going to kill her, join him or leave. She was hoping for to leave, but at last. It was not meant to be. GGIO show Harabel to her area. She shall be joining our ranks, Baragan shouts in joy. Tia frowns at this, being stuck here would not help her or her master. Nevertheless, she knew if she tries anything her master would not come to help her, or make it in time. Baragan look her over one last time before telling her to leave. He began to plot on how he could use her to gain the Kyuubi for himself then kill her to make sure no one challenge his rule. Oh yes, how he would rule everyone in every world. Harabel for her part knew she would need to contact Naruto. But he would still be in the Soul Society. She wonders if she should try to enter to find him. No, I must not show my master I am weak. If he finds me weak then he will kill me to keep his secret safe. Tia thought looking out the window of her room, cell, since it had a wood bed ripped sheets and that was it. Tia guesses it was used for more humanoid hollows to sleep in or Baragan officers. The moon remains in the sky never moving. That is what everyone thought, when in fact there were two moons. One of the moons is from the world of the living and the other from the Soul Society. The world of the living gave of a white glow. This one gave of a bluish glow telling Tia it was nighttime still. She never understood time here, for the only way was to look to see what color of the moon glow was. Every time she went to the human world, she could tell. In fact, if she could she would remain there. Tia knew how Naruto would contact her soon. With this in mind, she lays down hoping to get some sleep. Mindscape. Harabel finds herself in a vast ocean of sand. Walking she comes up to a large body of water, at once she knows this is the ocean. Looking around she spots 9 figures standing on the water in front of her. 8 of them all have a white hood with the kanji of 1 through 8 on the back. The 9th figure stood in a sea blue kimono with a darker blue waves on it. The person in fact is a female stood with midnight black hair reaching past her knees. Pale skin helped bring out her teal eyes. It seems we now have another to welcome, the first of the hood figures say with a sneer. Hush now. You lost one too many times to say anything, the figure with kanji for 6 speaks up. Look closely, she is already at the level of you big brother. G with 8 nods his head but remains silences. Shall we test her, the first female voice asked, coming from the hood with kanji for 2 on it. No, she already eaten some of the kyuubi, even if we went all out we would lose. The man with 8 on his back speaks. No, we teach her, show her the way and keep her safe. Then I'm out, the first one says vanishing in a cloud of sand. The others do not move. We will speak again Tia Harabel, but now it's time for us to leave you, the female one speaks up with a bow before the rest leave different ways. Tia turns to look at the woman standing on the water. Hello my dear. I am. The woman says. Tia looks at her in wonder why she could not hear her name. So you cannot hear my name yet. You will in time. Tia does not say anything. Zhu. Tia remains looking at her crossing her arms under her breast. You did not think your master would not send you into the lion's den without as he would put it an ace up his sleeve, the nameless woman tells her. So my master does not wish for harm to come to me, Tia says to herself. The woman walks over to Tia. Placing her hand on Tia's cheek almost like a mother would, you may not hear my name now dear. But one day soon you shall. Until then if you wish to talk to anyone, you may find me here. Where is here? Tia asks for the first time. Your soul. Now wake up, it seems you work to do. The woman says before giving Tia an open palm strike, right below the rib cage. Next day Saraite. Ichigo sits up suddenly before grabbing his side in pain. He notes his entire upper body was covered in bandages. Good, you awake. Yoruichi voice said floating over the small cave. Ichigo turns to look at her. What happened? Will Strawberry-chan, you got into a fight with the captain of the 10 strongest divisions. A male voice tells him, making Ichigo turn to the side to see a man who looks like an older Naruto resting on a large stuffed fox. Ichigo wonder who the man was and where the stuffed fox came from. Who the heck are you? Ichigo asks. Really Strawberry-chan, you can't remember me? Naruto asks with fake tears. Ichigo for his part sweat drops when he realizes who it was. Wait, you're supposed to be only 5 or so. Yay, and Yoruichi is supposed to be a cat, Naruto tells him with a fox-like smirk. Where's his Orihime? I remember her being with you. Ichigo says, looking around hoping to find her safe. I left her with Ka-chan and Ba-chan. No one would dare get close to her right now without pissing those two off, Naruto tells him with his eyes closed. Your mother and grandmother. How are they going to keep her safe? Ichigo asks. Because they are the captain and vice captain of Squad 4, Yoruichi tells him, sitting down in dark skin-tight pants and an orange sweater. She had her legs crossed looking at him. What? Ichigo yells out, looking back at Naruto. Naruto cracks an eye open, his blue eye looks at Ichigo. Come on, we got 5 to 8 more days until Rakia execution. And we are going to need all the time we got to get you ready, Yoruichi tells him as she stands up. With Naruto. Naruto made his way down an empty walkway. Walking down the walkway, he feels a vice captain level Shinigami making her way to him. Jumping up onto the building, he watches her turn around, looking up at the wall behind her. Looking up, she lets out a loud scream. Naruto pushes his chakra and Raryoku to see what was going on. The girl was looking up at a sword stuck in the wall, mouthing Aizen repeatedly. Getting up, Naruto leaps down behind the girl. Walking past her, the Kyuubi leaps down XT to him, making the girl scream again, seeing the hollow. Naruto walks up to the wall. Placing his hand on it, he starts to grin. Kyuubi, wait here for the body to be removed. I want to know what is going on, Naruto tells the Kyuubi. Turning, Naruto looks at the girl, who now has her sword out and pointing at him. I would lower that if I were you. I will not hurt you. But she will, Naruto says, pointing to Kyuubi behind him. Now tell me what you see up on the wall. You're a drifter. Why should I? Naruto could feel her sword shaking. Because all I feel is a sword that I wish to be destroyed. Before it brings more pain to others I care about, Naruto tells her, making her take a step back and lower her sword. Before she could say anything, 2 other captains and 3 vice captains show up. Jin starts to grin seeing Naruto and waves to him, while Tsunade keeps a straight face. Jin vice captain looks worried. The last captain being the youngest and the shortest with ice-white hair. His cold blue eyes gave nothing away as he stares at Naruto. His lieutenant stood behind him. Her red hair reached past her neck. She has on a change necklace that vanished into her uniform. Around her neck was a pink sash. Both stood ready to attack. Now this is something to see, Jin says with his fox-like grin. Yes indeed, Jin, Naruto says to him, walking past the girl to face the captains. Who the heck are you? The short captain snaps. Naruto turns to look at him and whistles, making Kyuubi walk over to him, the only person to control the Vasto Lords. Tsunade eyes get big, make her realize Naruto is letting another one run around. She just now prayed that he knew what he was doing. Then you're in line with the hollows, the captain asks. Oh heavens no. It's more like they are in line with me. Kyuubi here is my friend and the other one I only just met, but I feel like I can trust, Naruto tells them, giving. Beside, why is a middle school student doing here as a captain? I thought you kid went on field trips to the human world. Said captain starts to form a tick mark over his eye, so you must be one of the drifters here. Me a drifter, that's new one. But no, I am no drifter, in Act 1 have my own room in a barracks, only problem is you do not know what one, Naruto said as he jumps back from the captain attack. Naruto for his part was have the time of his life. He just kept taunting the captain with close one. Keep it, you will get me someday, oh so close, or my favorite, miss me now you got to kiss the Kyuubi. He kept leading him away from everyone else other and his vice captain and the girl that he spotted and was screaming. Falling backwards, Naruto smirks as he stand upside down on one of the walkways. Both the short captain and his vice captain stop looking around for him. Pulling out his second sword, Naruto. Kaizen Ryu no Megami, Rule Dragon Goddess, Naruto yells out before cutting into the walkway. The captain and the vice captain jump back as the walkway falls away from them. Landing a few feet back, Naruto flips back over, landing on his feet smirking. The captain was first to note something wrong with the air around Naruto. Looking close, he notes a dragon made of wind around Naruto and his sword. His sword changed greatly. The blade, now 19.5 inches long, meet the handle with no hand guard. In the blade were 3 cutouts. Thanks to the way it was made, it could be used with one hand and still get powerful blows off with easy. So can I know the names of those who I will defeat here, or do I get to make up nicknames for you? Naruto asks. I am Toshiro Hitsugaya. Toshiro tells him as his vice captain stands a few feet behind him. Soon the other girl shows up and gets into her stance before speak, Vice Captain Rengoku Matsumoto. 2 vice captains and a captain. Now I should warn you, if you can use Bankia I would release it now. Ryu no Megami is able to cut through almost anything, Naruto tells him as he falls into his stance. His left foot facing towards them, squatting lightly puts most of his weight on his right leg. Naruto places his left arm out in front, palm open and up. Raising his right arm he holds his sword over his head pointed at the ground. Many have a hard time understanding this stance since it left Naruto wide open. Only for Naruto he knew this stance was a strong well-balanced stance. Toshiro ca. Me in first with an overhead strike shifting into a straight thrust. Naruto parries before countering with a side swing. Rengoku jumps in blocking it. Naruto leaps back landing near the edge of the walkway. Ducking under Rengoku follow-up Naruto delivers a punch to her solar pretext. Landing on his hand Naruto mule kicks her back to her captain. Come Captain Short Pants, show me the ice dragon and I will show you my wind dragon. Or are you afraid to face it? Naruto taunts wanting to face the captain at full strength or not at all. Toshiro does not fall for the taunt but glares at him. Feels Kyuubi land next to him pulling on his sleeve. Naruto then feels 2 large spiritual energy moving at him. Sheathing his sword Naruto kneels down waiting for the 2 to show up. 2 more captains land in the area. One looking at him passively, the other had a frown on her face. Head Captain Yamamoto walks past Captain Toshiro who has not lowered his blade. I see you know when to stop, he says. Ma. King Rengoku shiver from the sound of his voice. Hello Gramps, Naruto says looking up at him as he stands back up. The Kyuubi walks past them over to Unohana sniffing her a few times before licking her hand. Naruto whistles sharply calling her back over. I hope you will come peacefully. A fight here would destroy much from our battle, Yamamoto tells him. You know Gramps you just want me so you can get close the others. But no can do, you seeing I promised the shopkeeper and Yoruichi-chan I would help and keep an eye on the brats. So how about you let me go and I will make sure no one else gets killed or we can fight it out here. And I know the woman standing behind you will not get in this fight, Naruto says pulling out Roku Cage. We both know I will go all out from the get-go. If need be I will pull out the rest and use Bankia on the Kyuubi. Do you really want to fight me and the Kyuubi going all out? Yamamoto remains still, Naruto takes this as letting him leave. Sheathing his blades again Naruto vanish in a flash of yellow with the Kyuubi. Toshiro looks angry at this makes ready to leave, when Captain Yamamoto stops him, do not worry you will meet him again. But for now we have a murder to solve. I already know it was him, Toshiro tells him. I do not believe he killed Captain Aizen. For one we would all have felt a spike in spiritual energy, 2 I know how his kind fight. With Aizen stabbed through with his own sword as a sign of dishonor to the winner, next they do not leave the body to display like that. He would lower and hid the body or drop it off in front of his squad building. Next from the look, Aizen only has 1 wound on him. He should have 3 all lease, across the neck, bite mark on his leg or arm, and a missing limb. He took Captain Soy Fan out by removing her arm. He did not kill Captain Aizen, or have anything to do with his death, Captain Unohana tells the short captain. Add to the fact the Kyuubi's spiritual energy has not grown, makes me believe someone else killed him. But the question is who? The one of the other drifters then, Rengoku states and asks. Maybe, we have 3 of them already. None of them seems strong enough to do this. The strongest one so far is the Quince, Yamamoto tells her. Then this Yoruichi or one of the others then, Toshiro asks. No, Yoruichi would not do this. I have a feeling one of them is too weak. The other is doubtless in hiding with Yoruichi, Unohana says wondering what was going on. Still he is allies with the Hollows. He must be stopped, Toshiro yells, now getting angry how no one seems to care. That Hollow serves him. But for now I am calling an emergency captain meeting at once. Captain Unohana makes sure he shows up, Yamamoto says before leaving. Unohana walks away trying to find her son who seemed to vanish. Toshiro growls before leaving with the 2 vice captains. Naruto for his part was walking into Squad 4's barracks. Walking up to his room he opens it up seeing no one inside. Looking at the Kyuubi he pats her head. Stay here and protect my family. I fear something may happen to them, Naruto tells her before vanishing with a flash step. Heading outside DS his mother standing there looking at him. I guess I need to go to jail, Naruto asks knowing he had broken the law. No, head captain wants you at the meeting. He needs to know if any of you could have taken down Aizen. Unohana tells her son as she pulls him into a hug, why do you keep picking these fights? Because they are fun, and I want to test the captains out to see where they standing, Naruto says as he returns the hug. For the meeting, what form do you want? Kid, since after this is over I am moving to the real world for a break as will remember, Unohana tells him as Naruto changes into his 5-year-old form. Unohana smiles as she picks him up. They both arrive as the last captain shows up. Soy Fan grumbles at being late, only glad not being the last. She spots the small boy in Unohana arms and wonders why he was coming to the meeting. Both walk in and take their places. Naruto hops down and walks to the end of the line next to Toshiro and looks up at him. Hey Aniki, do you know why everyone is here? Ka-chan would not tell me, Naruto asks, making both Shunsui and Jashiro chuckle lightly at Naruto's act. Toshiro eye starts to twitch, and why the hell are you here, you brat? Get out, you're not supposed to be here. Naruto, keeping up his act, starts crying and runs back to Unohana, Ka-chan, Aniki being mean to me. Toshiro jaw hits the floor as Shunsui and Jashiro both start laughing without any sign of stopping. I just told him to leave. Now Naru-chan no needs to cry. He does not understand as all, Unohana says with a smile, trying to fight back her own laughter. Head Captain Yamamoto fakes a cough to cover his own snigger, making everyone look at him. Good, everyone is here, we may begin. Since the Ryoka have entered, we have lost 3 captain in battle, 1 is dead. I want to know if the Ryoka could have killed Captain Aizen at all, Yamamoto says looking at Naruto. Naruto hops down again from his mother's arms to face the head captain. No, none of them are powerful enough to take him on. While Yoruichi-chan could fight him and may be able to win, I do not think she did it. For one, she has been running around keeping an eye on the kids. Next, you already have 3 of the Ryoka lock up. While the Quince may be able to, if what I felt from that power surge is true, but he does not have the experience or skill to take on a captain, the others are in no way or form capable to do so. Next, the other female is the weakest and the strongest thanks to her powers. However, she been under watch, also she does not really have the will to kill. The loss. T1 is capable but in no shape to do it if I am right, Naruto says as if he was an adult, shocking all but 5 captains. Soy Fan looks at him closely, then notes his sword sheath. You're the one who cut off my arm. She yells out, reaching to grab her sword. Naruto just rolls his head to look at her and frowns. I beat you once already, do you want me to do it again? I also said next time I will not go easy on you. Naruto lets out a very adult-like sigh as he rubs the back of his neck. Changing into his true form, Naruto kicks the katana that lay at his feet into his hand. Placing it next to Hi's other one, he rolls his head to look at Soy Fan. Now I see you still have not let go of your hate and anger like I said you should. To truly become strong you need to let it go or you will remain weak as you are now. Captain of Squad 9. The man is dark skin and dark brown braids. He has pupil-less eyes that are pale lavender, and has been blind since birth. Even if he could not see, he was still able to tell where someone was by feeling them out. Turning to look at Naruto, he speaks softly, coming from you who only cause more pain. Tell me, Blind Chan, have I killed anyone yet? Both captains that I put down will be up on their own within 2 days. The only reason one of them is not dead is that he ran away. Next time we meet, I will not fall for that trick again. Sure, the surrounding area was blown up, but you get that when you fight me. Heck, asks any captain that I spar with or fought me. I can do lots of damage in a short amount of time. However, this is not the now or time for this talk. Gigi-san, if you want to find out what happened to your captain, look closer to home, Naruto say before walking back over behind his mother. Troubling indeed. With this and Central 46 moving the date forward. As of now, Rukia Kuchiki will be executed in 3 days from now, Yamamoto says, making Naruto growl loudly. I would like to speak with those numbskulls, Naruto says to his mother, who nods. Taking a quick look around, Naruto vanishes with a small gust of wind blowing through the room. That evening, underground training room. Ichigo sat relaxing in a hot spring that was set up underground. He just finishes a day of training and was covered in cuts and bruises. Now relaxing, he watches in amazement as the cuts and bruises heal from the water. Wondering what would happen if he drank it, Ichigo fills his mouth with the water. Yoruichi, who unfailing timing, shows up. How's the water? Ichigo groans something back and waves his arm. That good, then you would not mind if I join you? Yoruichi says with a smirk as she start to get undress. Ichigo for his part spits out the water in his mouth and start to stammer for words. Covering his eyes, Ichigo hears a small splash, then Yoruichi speaking in her cat form. That's not so bad. Looking up, she smirks, baiting him on. What, disappointed? I'm going to drown you, Ichigo growls out before grabbing the cat and trying to hold it underwater. A few minutes later, both finally relax, though Ichigo still had a blush on his face. Yoruichi had somehow got a small towel to place on top of her head. Hey Yoruichi-san, I've been thinking. You know Naruto pretty well, how strong is he? Ichigo asks, wondering why Hat and Clogs sent the kid along. Yeah, he had family that was a captain, but that did not help much in a fight. Why are you worried about him? Yoruichi asks, grinning like a cat. I'm going to kill you, Ichigo growls out at her. Please, you are too tight. But if you must know, he has taken on gods and demons. He likes to keep his past close. So only a few know about him. Blame it on the way he grew up and where he came from, Yoruichi said with a sigh. So he is not human then? Ichigo then asks. No. He is just a hybrid, Yoruichi grins at him. Tell me, Yoruichi, who is Naruto really? Ichigo demands. I will give you this. Before coming to the Soul Society, he was leader of his village and thought as the strongest person alive since the first sage of six paths. Yoruichi tells him, changing back into her human form right before Ichigo turns to look at her, making him fall backwards, not wanting to look, starting another yelling match with him yelling at her and him teasing for another few minutes. Ichigo sat there in a slump, frowning at Yoruichi, who finally put a towel around her body. So if he is so strong, why is he not a captain? Ichigo asks. He does not want to put anyone else to rest. He already buried both his wives, all of his friends. The man he saw as a father, Yoruichi says with a sad look on her face. But if they died, could he not just send them here? Ichigo asks, trying to figure out Naruto. Some of them made it here. Also, in the heat of battle you can lose yourself. Also half the tea. Me, the souls just vanish, never to return. Only know of about a handful of people from his village and friends made it. I know for a fact he made sure his best friend pass on and made it here, Yoruichi tells him, taking a thinking pose. The pervert soul is one of the captains, same with his father and grandfather figure. You met his aunt already, and new father figure. Still not sure where the Nara and both his teammates end up. Weird group to, but loyal to the end. I take it you knew all of his friends, Ichigo asks, trying not to look at her. Yep, was at the wedding T0. Do you know what it means to catch the flowers? The wife throws over her shoulder. No one real explains it to me, Yoruichi says, a grin, hoping to get another rise out of him. And once again Ichigo falls for turning. He outs and turns back around, trying to stop the nosebleed. Do not feel bad, I get everyone with that. And I do know, just wonder what it means when you both of them. Tia eyes snap open. She could sense someone entering her room. Whoever it was, leaking mass amounts of killer intent at her. Waiting for the person to get closer, Tia strikes quicker than the person expected. Tia lands on her feet. With her claw-like hands out, covered in blood. Looking at would-be attacker, she sees it's a hammerhead hollow who does not know what he is against. Tia narrows her eyes at him, remaining still, waiting for the hollow to attack. At once the hollow charges, only to meet one of her blade-like fins on her arm, cutting into the hollow's mask. The hollow screams in pain and falls backwards. Looking at the hollow, Tia steps over him and leaves. Now knowing what she was worth here. 10 more hollows charge at her, only to be cut down as Tia makes her way through the halls. Dropping low and spinning, Tia cuts down the hollows with her tail. Standing up, she leaves the building after taking out 2 more hollows. Once outside, she sees Baragan standing there holding his great axe. You think I will let you walk out of here? You serve me and my men any way I see fit, Baragan says with an evil laugh at the end. Before Baragan could order his men to attack, Tia already vanished from sight, using Sonito, leaving only a boom behind and a cloud of sand. Baragan lets out a growl seeing his prize had vanished from under his nose. No matter, all I need to do is keep eating. A few of my officers have been starting to believe they should be king. Tia keeps using Sonido for over an hour before stopping at a cave. Entering the cave, she follows the steps down into the forest of Manos. Exiting the tunnel, she looks up at the ceiling of the cave where the large silver tree trunks go up through into the desert above. Walking through the forest, Tia keeps looking around for any attacks as she travels deeper into the forest to become lost within the Will the Forest. Soul Society. Naruto lands on top of Stonewall looking down at a tan house with a sand and rock garden with a stone pathway leading up to it. Looking quickly to his left then right, Naruto leaps onto one of the rocks before leaping to another. After leaping to the third rock, Naruto leaps back as several waves of sand try to grab him. Landing on the rock, Naruto pulls out Ryu no Megami and cuts through the next wave of sand only to see a person standing on the rock he just left. The man standing on had his arms crossed with a neutral-looking face. His green eyes gave nothing way as the wind tossed his red hair about. "Hello, Gaara," Naruto says as he keeps his blade at the ready. "Uzumaki," Gaara replies as his sand forms up behind him in a large cloud. Both stared at one another waiting for the other to make the first move. Naruto sheath his blade making Gaara drop his sand. "Why are you here, Uzumaki?" "Gaara, I keep telling you to call me Naruto. And I am here for your help. I need to get into Central 46 but it is locked down tight. No guards on the outside either make me uneasy," Naruto tells him as he sits down on his rock. "It would be airtight," Gaara replies. "When has that ever stopped us? Beside, you know I could break in but I do not want to hurt anyone when I do. With you we can unlock the front door then walk in," Naruto says grinning. "It would take time," Gaara says thinking it over. Naruto plan did stop any bloodshed if someone was on the inside behind the door. "Very well, let's go." Naruto grins as both vanish, one in a swirl of leaves and the other in a swirl of sand. Just after they both leave, another arrives only to find a few leaves. Seems I just missed the two of them. Does not matter, I will be able to make them fall in the end," the lone person says before vanishing as well. Realm of Kings. "So is it true that Naruto-kun is returned?" a young woman asks. "It has seemed so. This case with Rukia Kuchiki has brought him back, a very old-looking man says with a raspy voice that you had to strain to hear. "I knew he would come back to see me," the woman says, ignoring what the man says as she spins a roux. In the large room, making everyone sweat drop at her. "Have Yamamoto, or what that old captain name is, to send him here at once. I do not want to wait any longer to see my beloved. I need to start planning the wedding, oh so much to do." One of the guards who had been with the family for some time speaks up in a soft female voice. "My san, Naruto-sama is not here because of you, I am afraid. As last seen at a captain meeting before vanishing. He most likely will not be seen until the execution date, and even then we may not know where or how. After he does show, he may just vanish again." I rounds on the guard, glaring at her with such hate-filled eyes that could burn the polar caps quicker than you could blink or snap your finger, for a light to come on once you flip the breaker. "You will bring me Naruto-kun to me even if you must remove anyone standing in your way. I will not let him get away from me." The guard looks back at the spoiled little brat that called herself a princess without blinking or backing down. "I will not face Naruto-san in combat if I could. I have seen what he can do and I do not wish to be on the other end of his blade. Beside, do you think his friends or family will let him come without fighting us? You were a ninja in your past life, able to use chakra thingy. You are telling me you were unable to handle some weakling Ino?" My shouts, not knowing what she just caused. Before she could blink, finds herself slammed into a wall, being held back by Ino arm against her throat. Ino leans in so Mai could hear every word clearly. "I serve you're the king, not you. After him my loyalty is to my Hokage past, present, and future." The means Naruto-san and Tsunade-san. Every ninja here is loyal at their captain, then to their cage after Naruto-san and Tsunade-san. Do you really want to risk open war against them, knowing you will lose, with them losing little to none at all? Mai shakes her head quickly before pushing Ino off of her and running away crying. Ino turns to her king before bowing to him. "I am sorry for that, but she needs to understand I will not betray Naruto-san like that, and she risked too much over a crush. I do not wish to see her go down the same path my friend did. Ino says without looking up, knowing this could be her last few minutes of life. She does need to learn nothing will be serving to her on a platter just because she wants it to. The old king says with a sigh. Taking a few breaths he begins again, you will not be punished Ino-chan, for you only did what I would have done. While you are my youngest guard, you are my best. But I must punish you in some form or another. Cannot let the other noble families get any ideas. I understand my king, Ino says, bowing even lower before leaving, knowing what her punishment would be. The old king closes his eyes to rest, knowing he needs to name someone to take his throne soon. The other nobles were already pushing for him to pick among them. But none of them seemed to be able to see past their own nose. He would need to find one from outside the noble families and great families. The final hours before the execution had arrived. Across the Soul Society everyone got ready. About a dozen began to put on armor and clean their weapons, knowing what could come. They all got the message and knew their mission. Two outside the wall began to put on the last of their armor before placing an old mask. Both look at one another and nod, knowing what to do next before vanishing. Inside a small building, 3 people sat waiting for the right time to move. The hour was drawing close. And they all were ready as 2 more joined them. Another sat down on the ground to look up as the clouds blew past, chewing on some grass. He knew what was coming and did not want to do anything. But he knew what was needed of him and would do it. It is time. Yay, you ready? Troublesome. Yay, I am. Then let's go. The man vanishes into a shadow to the meeting point. Outside Central 46 2 Street. Ood looking at the locked door, waiting for it to unlock. Both of them knew they were running out of time. If they wanted to do this, they would need to do it now. Looking to one another, they both nod as EY ready to break down the door from the outside. Deep underground, one orange-haired teen continues to train to be able to fight someone at captain level and be able to walk away. War was coming and only a few knew of it. Squad 4 ready themselves for what would come. Unohana and Tsunade made last-minute touches to their mission in squad area. Once finished, both made their way to the Sokyoku Hill. A large cloud of dust forms above the person in Squad 2 area, making both women raise an eyebrow, wondering who was breaking who out. Both took the long way to the hill, wondering who would side with whom. Another pair made their way through Soul Society, wanting answers why everything to be going wrong to the laws. Their target was Central 46, for they knew the answers lay there. Nether notes a third person following them. Taking too long, we need to be in there now, Naruto mumbles to Gaara as he tries to find the lock with his sand. Gaara says nothing as he withdraw his sand, shaking his head. Naruto draws Ryu no Megami as Gaara leaps back, knowing what was going to happen. Kaizen Ryu no Megami, Naruto shouts as he cuts into the door, breaking the locks on the outside and inside. As the door falls into dust from being destroyed, both Naruto and Gaara walk into the dark entryway, only to smell something like death greet them. Gaara forms his sand into a Western-style sword as they both make their way deeper in hopes of finding the answers they seek. The sound of feet running across stone makes them stop and blend into the shadows as 2 people run past them. Nodding, they follow them, in hopes of finding an answer to what was going on. Even with the 2 rushing and unlocking the doors quickly, it was taking too long for Naruto. 46 held to many keys and answers, and he wanted both. Oh. UT sighed, he could feel someone fighting a captain, knowing the war had begun. Both Naruto and Gaara knew what was needed now. Both swung their swords, stopping the other 2 as both attacks passed them. Brea King through the doors until they hit a wall. Walking out of the shadows, Naruto eyes glue onto the shorter of the 2 in front of him. It was the same one that chased him a few days ago, only to be stopped by Yamamoto and his mother. Both drew blades, seeing them only for Naruto and Gaara walk past them on the side. They attack as if they were part of the floor. So you 2 are the ones that broke in, he short captain shouts at them, making both stop and turn to look at him. Gaara's sand broke apart and began to form a cloud again. Naruto held his sword in a relaxed stance, making the captain wonder if he both saw them as threats or just a fly that needed to be swat. The captain figured the later from the look he was getting in their relaxed stance. We are the second to get in here. My presence alone should have gotten the door to open. But it seems someone got past here and locks everything down. They do not want us getting to Central 46 until after the Naruto stops, realizing what was going on. Gaara, get everyone to the hill and stop the execution at all cost. I do not want anyone dead, but it cannot happen. Go. Understand, Gaara says before vanishing into his cloud of sand. His fellow Age and friend had just told him what need to be done and he would get it done. Naruto look at the two in front of him, judging if they would be any help or hindrances. Figuring they would could help Then if a little he swings the back of his sword at the doors. Naruto watches as they fall down with a frown. It's stronger now. I hope I am wrong or this is not going to end well for anyone, Naruto says as he walks down the pathway. It took them another 45 minutes to reach the last door. How is this possible? What happened here? The short captain says in shock as Naruto walks into the room. Frowning even more, seeing everyone of the 46 was dead. Walking over to one, Naruto runs a finger along the blood and growls. Damn, they've been dead for over a week. Old man got a lot to answer for, not even coming here to find out what was going on, Naruto growls as he kicks a chair over in anger. Looking around, he spots movement at the top of some steps leading to another part of the building. I thought you would be here, Captain Hitsugaya. Everyone looks to see a man that made Naruto think of Deidara if his hair was a little darker. It was even in the same style as the guy Minnie's the weird-looking ponytail Deidara had. Deidara, I did not know you made it here. I thought your soul got sealed. Kira, what are you doing here? Did you do this? Hitsugaya shouts at the man. No, I just got here after you. Some on the inside let me in. Must been 46, Kira says, turning on the spot, running down the pathway he came. Both the captain and his vice captain bolt after him, wanting answers as Naruto begins searching the room. Does not sound like him, and from what I know, seal souls take part of the personality of the body they are in. At least he is not shouting art as a blast. I mean really, yo. You only need to say it once for everyone to get it. Now where the heck is that seal? Naruto say out loud to no one really other than the person hiding behind a doorway. Ah, here it is. Hello sight and goodbye blindness. Release. The hidden person watches as Naruto is covered in a orange to red light for over 3 minutes before it vanish from a sudden wind blowing it away from him in a swirl. Looking around, Naruto spots the shoe of the hidden person and shrugs. Looking at the last doorway, Naruto vanishes into the shadows, seeing another person approach. Naruto watches the soft-spoken vice captain follow Jin after the girl, and Jin talk for a bit. Jin then has the girl follow him into the lower levels all the way to the Seihotokyoran. Naruto began to wonder why Jin was leading the girl all way to the one place no one but the 46 could enter. Naruto could only make out a little of what they were saying, now needing to hide in the shadows. They enter the first one. He notes someone standing in the shadows of the first tower. Said person begins to make his or her way to the entrance of the first tower, making the girl spin around to face the person crying out, seeing him. Captain Aizen. The girl cries out, happy to see her beloved captain alive and not dead. Naruto right hand began to start shaking uncontrollably, making his eyes widen, seeing the blade in Aizen hand forming in half. Seal Naruto trade places with the girl as the blade is rammed into his small intestine, making him cry out. Aizen jumps back as Jin opens his eyes all the way, never seeing a move like that before. My, I never thought I would be able to meet you, Naruto-kun. I have heard so much about you and read so much from what I could find. Your files are close and lock away in the one room I could not get into. It seems your grandmother knows a few Kido spells that lock doors that I can't even break, Aizen says with a grin, forgetting about the girl he was about to kill just a few minutes ago. Naruto glares at the man as he spits up some blood, hitting Aizen in the face with it. Using his left hand, Naruto tries to stop the blood flow, knowing he was in bad shape. His only hope right now was for his Helen G-factor to kick in to take care of the wound so he could fight. You think that is Kido? Naruto says, hoping to stall for ether help or his body to heal itself. What she has on her room is Somethi. Only a person with a chakra Zanpakuto can open. And I know you only have your one Zanpakuto. Tell me what it does, because I cannot figure it out. Let me show you, Naruto-kun, Aizen says, getting ready to use his sword. Shatter. Naruto blinks, seeing the sword still there. Only years of being on the field kept him alive as he jumps up and away from the attack. Throwing his sword, Naruto pulls his chakra Zanpakuto as he lands, panting from the pain. I see how your blade works now. Genjutsu is all it is. But I can also tell it does more than just that. If not for my years on the battlefield you would have killed me. I did not smell you move or see you move, or even hear you move, meaning you can control the senses within your illusion. But I bet you can even control what I feel when I touch something. Very good Naruto-kun, you figure it out from just seeing it and being attacked. Everyone else does not know what it is, Aizen says, not noticing a glint in Naruto's eye. But now you haven't fallen under my illusion, there is no breaking out of it. Every illusion has a weakness, Aizen. I have been in one that controls time and your senses. Your little genjutsu only controls my senses to a point. What it cannot control is my instincts that have been honed on the battlefield. So if I cannot use my eyes or my ears, I better get rid of them, Naruto says as he suddenly cuts a crossbow. Aizen down both ears, making it so he could not hear and him blind completely. Do not speak, Aizen, for I cannot see or hear. While you still control my touch, I can still control pain, so I can still fight back. But first let me bring one last thing into play. Bankai Oba Roku Kage Kaji. Aizen watches as Naruto's chakra pours out of him in a large column of orange fire. Once it dies down, Aizen sees it covers him like a cloak, taking the form of an animal. To him it did not matter, he was on a different level than everyone else in his mind. Once again Aizen attacks from behind, hoping to catch him off guard, only to find his blade blocked by Ryu no Megami. I told you I would find its weakness, Aizen. Naruto says with a grin as he reaches out with his right hand, grabbing onto Aizen's wrist. You cannot fool me now, Aizen. Aizen makes a cut at Naruto, forcing him to leap back. Aizen looks at his wrist, seeing it burn from where he was grabbing. Moving his hand, he found only a small amount of pain. Smirking, Aizen attacks again, only to hit nothing but air. Aizen's eyes grow big as he rolls and away when he feels something start to cut into him. Coming out of his roll, Aizen sees Naruto standing there with the tip of his sword covered in blood, his blood. Growling, Aizen charges in only to hit air again. Knowing what would be coming, Aizen rolls again, this time dodging the attack. How are you able to dodge my attacks? Aizen demands as he keeps his eyes locked onto Naruto bleeding ones. Look underneath, is all Naruto says as he vanishes again. Aizen turns only to find no one attacking him. Quickly looking around the room, Aizen cannot spot Naruto anywhere. Lying next to him was a note. Picking it up, Aizen reads it quickly. I must say you did well against my clone, Aizen. But if you cannot beat my clone, that is only half of my true strength, then you have no chance against me. But I will give you one chance to end this. Give up now and I may not kill you for harming my family. But knowing you will not give up and keep going after Haku-kun. I must say I was surprised when he ended up in that girl, unless he really was a girl. Anyway, right now I am getting the girl you just tried to kill out of here and leaving my clone to fight you. You did stab me, so I will give you a point for that. But to fall for such a simple genjutsu, you are going to lose points. So as the saying goes, the ball is in your court. Aizen crunches the note up before throwing it to the side. He was beaten by something that was beyond his own level of power. Standing up, Aizen dusts himself off before nodding to Jin. His last pawn should have gotten their target if she was not killed yet. Both vanish, not knowing their plan was falling to pieces around them. With the teens, S2 stood facing a small group of people, all standing facing them in mask other than Gaara, making the +2 both shake in fear knowing who they were. Gaara looks over the group, noticing Orihime was not with them. Stepping forward, Gaara glares at them. You will hand her over to us. We are not going to let you kill her, Ichigo says, reading his sword, trying to look strong even when he felt like dirt. If we wanted to kill her, we would have done it already. We have orders to make sure she stays alive for as long as we can keep her alive, Gaara says, feeling someone coming their way. We are running out of time, let's us move. Why should we trust you? Ichigo demands, trying to keep an eye on each of them. Because Naruto-kun has asked us to delay the execution as long as we could. So that mean keeping her alive. One of the mask's people speak. As two of their heads turn, seeing a captain making his way towards them. Before any of them could move, darkness fell upon them, freezing them in place. Gaara uses his sand so over the ground, trying to find the person, only to feel his sand be move out of the way around his charge. Then with a blink of the eye, the darkness vanish. Looking around, Gaara spots Rukia and Renji both missing. Naruto is not going to like this, Gaara groans as Ichigo runs off hoping to find Rukia and Renji before something happened to them. Gaara and the Anbu both get ready to follow only to feel several hollow enter through the Sekiseki. Gaara would have let the rest of the Soul Reapers take care of them, but these did not feel right. It was like they had chakra running through them. Seems we have some old friends coming. Gaara vanished with the Anbu to take down the hollows. The rest of the teens stand still trying to figure out what was going on. Iheim was the first to run off locking onto Ichigo energy. The rest of them follow hoping to save their friends in time. Tosen arrives back at the execution grounds pulling in a long white cloth he had used to get his target to here. Standing off to the side was Aizen and Jin, both looking at Renji and Rukia, who was looking around trying to figure out how they got here. Renji was the first to see Aizen and held his blade up to defend himself and Rukia from attack if need be. Welcome Abarai-kun. Now put down Rukia Kuchiki and step to the side, Aizen says with his smile he would give to get under everyone guard. Renji eyes get big seeing Aizen still alive. Before he gets over the shock, Aizen starts talking again. Put Rukia Kuchiki down and step to the side. Abarai-kun, do not make me say it again. He heard you the first time, Aizen, a young voice says from behind him. Spinning, he spots Naruto standing there in his child form holding both of his Zanpakuto in hand, grinning as the third one hidden on his body. Aizen's eye starts to twitch seeing Naruto standing there. Kill him, Tosen. But bring me his swords, they could be of use to me. Naruto raise an eyebrow seeing Tosen move his blade in a semi-circle, leaving a trail of after images behind it. Bring his blade back. He makes a vertical cut sending thousands of blades at Naruto, who vanish right before the first blade hits him, leaving a log behind, making Aizen and Tosen believe they had killed him. Jin cracks open his left eye and hides a grin seeing the log cover in blades, making it hard to tell it was a log. In fact, it with so many blades covering the ground and in the log you could not see any blood even if there was any. Bankia o ba roku kage kaji, Naruto shouts from atop the Tsukyoku, making everyone look at him once more in his true form. In his mouth was Naruto held his last Zanpakuto. He remembers of his first real mission and of the outcome of it. Aizen tries to understand why he felt no increase in Raryoku. In eyes now fully open, had drawn his blade before using it to get Renji to drop Rukia. Aizen notes this and moves quickly. Naruto eyes Jin for a minute before leaping back and swinging Kyuubi at Tosen, who was attacking again. Both blades crash in a shower of sparks as Naruto ducks under Aizen's blade and lashes out with his left leg in hopes to kick him in the groins. Aizen spins around the attacker. ND brings his fist down into Naruto's left temple. Throwing his head back, Naruto flips his body backwards, kicking Tosen under the chin, making him go airborne. Landing on his hands, Naruto catches Jin's blade with his feet before flip over, making Jin flip onto the ground hard so not to have his blade destroyed. Ducking under Aizen's blade, Naruto throws his two swords into the air as he moving quicker. Aizen thought was possible, lands near 50 punches across the chest and abdomen. Strike 50 turn into an open palm strike dead center of Aizen's chest, making him slide backwards a good 10 feet. Grabbing both of his blades out of the air, Naruto flips him in his hand and makes an X block behind him, stopping Jin's strike. I'm attacking my back, not bad Jin-kun. But if you want to even get close to hitting me, you are going to need to better than that, Naruto says with a grin as he vanish in a cloud of smoke. Tosen looks around trying to spot Naruto's. Jin stands up frowning seeing he had miss and being called kun by Naruto. Aizen begins his plan to get the Hogyoku out of Rukia. Vanishing Aizen reappears in front of Renji and Rukia, kicking Renji away and grabbing Rukia by the collar around her neck and lifts her up. Pulling out a small tube from his coat, Aizen drops it on the ground, then runs his hand straight into Rukia as 6 spikes come out of the ground. Pulling his hand out, Aizen grins seeing the Hogyoku in all its glory. Aizen drops Rukia as he examines the Hogyoku. Earth release. Swamp of the underworld. Rings out. Aizen is forced to leap back away from the ground as it turns into a swamp. Both Renji and Rukia find themselves in a tree thanks to a shadow clone. Looking over the swamp, both see Naruto standing on an island with no room to move. Aizen, Jin and Tosen land around the edges of the swamp, seeing Naruto standing there looking very pleased with himself. I knew I could pull it off. Beat that arrow, Sanin. Now Aizen, are you ready to give up? Because it looks like everyone is here. Before Aizen could reply, every captain and vice captain lands around him in the swamp that was slowly vanishing. Aizen could not help but smirk at the sight of all the captains. Did you all come here just for me? Naruto sheaves all but Roku before he tilts his head to the side, wondering why he felt chakra being used close by. Tsunade and Unohana both feel it as well before looking around in case Aizen and trick the Anbu into helping him. Seeing none, they look back at Aizen, waiting for him to make the next move. Both Yoruichi and her student Soi Fun had his blade trap in its sheath and a blade to his throat. Jin had a blade at his throat and his sword hand trapped by Soft Hand. Tosen was having a stare down by 3 vice captains. That's it for today, I will stop here. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you please consider subscribe and make sure to hit that like button, share with your friends, and don't forget to check out author of this story. Details in description.